Yo, what's up, guys? Demon, what's up? Burr, what's up, man? What is going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome, man. How's everybody doing? How's it going? Scary Badman Jenkins, what's up, dude? And then he got rid of it. I'm actually not logged into the game, Scary, but I'm sure one of my generals will do it. He's like, my buddy made me join his clan, then he destroyed it. Nova, what's up? John's in the house. What's going on, guys? Yeah, he's kind of lame. Yo, Nuax, what's up, man? So why have I been AFK on streams? Dude, to be honest, man, I just didn't feel like streaming, dude. I'll be straight up. There's no like secret thing or really reason, but now, man, I just didn't feel like streaming, dude. I'll be straight up. We thought you died. I appreciate it, man. No, man. Video game limbo is like a real thing, dude. And I just get like down and out on myself about like, God, man, I'm bored with Diablo now. I don't have anything to play. So it's just kind of like that, man. So I was just like, you know what? I don't want to stream if like the energy is going to be bad or if like it's going to be, you know, it's going to be lame or whatever. You know what I mean? So Rays, what's up, man? He said the dev stream is a bunch of BS. Well, we're going to watch it, man. I haven't been able to watch it. He said D4 2.0 equals D3. What am I eating? I'm eating white Oreos with milk. I'm dipping them in milk until they get a little bit soft, and then I chew them. Because I'm a weirdo. We've been waiting for you on PoE, bro. Hey, ain't nobody messaged me saying that. You've been playing Black Myth? Yeah, I played that on stream that other day, Race. It was like a couple hours. I think Black Myth is an amazing game. One thing, even in the short amount of time that I've played it, I really wish it was open world. I really wish it wasn't so linear, man. But what's my favorite game of all time, Scary Batman? My favorite game to play of all time. Now, is it my favorite game I've played or just of all time? Because there's some games that are really good that I haven't played that I know that are just amazing. He played for 10 minutes that I personally played. That's tough, man. That's really tough. Don't say Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is in my top 5 games of all time. Final Fantasy 7 and 10 are in my top of all time. I love those games. But I'll put it like this. I'm gonna name my favorite from how immersed I got into the game. Okay. In my top 2 games of like full immersion that had me like really just locked in, Mass Effect 2 was one of them. Mass Effect 2 was crazy. Zelda Ocarina of Time. This is excluding Final Fantasy, by the way. Assassin's Creed 2. Elden Ring. Legends of the Dragoon, if you guys know that one. Legend of the Dragoon was amazing. Ocarina of Time's so good. What? No Chrono Trigger? I mean, Final Fantasy VI was great. Yeah, Legend of the Dragoon was so good, man. I really wish they would remaster that and remake it. Like, maybe not remake it, just remaster it with up-to-date graphics and all that stuff. The game's awesome. 8 out of 10. Scary Batman said, dude, I'm old. Hey, man, I'm in my 30s, bro, so I'm not too far out of there. Let's see. What's another really good one that just, like, hit me hard? Let me look. Let me look at my shelf on my games. There's a lot of good ones, man, but there's not too many that, like, really reeled me in. I've played a lot of games, but there's only been a few that have really just, like, brought me in. Where, like, I was just so hooked on those games, dude. And those are all gone. Any of the God of Wars? I mean, the series of God of War is very good. All the games are great. None of them really, like, brought me in too hard. I really enjoy those games, but I don't think any of the God of Wars make my top list. I don't think any of them. Am I going to play the beta of Call of Duty tomorrow? I would love to, Scary, but I'll be at work, man. I'll be working my normal job, unfortunately. So, kind of story of my life here. Ooh, I really loved Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem was really good. Of course, the Pokemon games are up there. The Pokemon games are always up there. Fire Emblem really had me locked in. Oh, that was good. You guys been playing Black Myth? Oh, yeah, LMG, welcome back, man. Yeah, Black Myth Wukong is 100% game of the year. I don't see another game beating it. Yo, Chris, what's up, man? All right, guys. Well, we got that done. I'm going to grab a code red here in a second. And, excuse me. We are going to watch the dev stream. Now, for a lot of you guys that have seen a lot of the stuff, Baja Blast is so much better. Baja Blast is my number 2 Mountain Dew. It's Code Red, Baja Blast, and then regular. So yeah, guys, we are going to watch this thing in its entirety. I'll try to skip the boring stuff if I feel like something's boring. So does trash in general. Yeah, man, it's my only one of the day. So, can I turn my mic up? It's pretty loud already, X-rated. I'm sorry, man. So we are going to watch this thing. I've already seen a lot of the news. I haven't read the patch notes completely. I've seen a couple things, and I got some stuff queued up and ready for you guys. So we're going to watch this thing, and I really want to see what all the actual devs say besides, you know, what I've seen on Twitter. So I don't think a lot of you posted a whole lot of stuff in the Discord, unfortunately, but yeah, I gotta be more active in there. But anyway, We are going to watch this thing, so let me cut the music. Let me grab a code red. And we are going to... Sarcastic did? Okay, cool. I haven't checked since I logged out of work. We are going to watch this thing, and we are going to talk about a lot of the stuff, guys. So feel free to comment on the stuff. Feel free to talk about stuff in here. We're going to be talking about a lot of things tonight. So feel free. We're also going to be doing a video on all of this stuff after to kind of sum it up. I already know that all the other creators have videos out there, but, you know, of course, we got to do ours, even if it only gets like 100 views, but we're going to do it anyway. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in here. You guys let me know if the volume sounds good, okay?
To another campfire chat. This is
Poor Adam, man. He had COVID. That's why this looks so weird.
For PTR. As you guys can see, we're in a little bit of a new environment. We're all doing this from home. We had to do a quick last-minute pivot about 24 hours ago.
It's super low.
I was struck by some conflict.
I wish they would give timestamps.
You feel powerful, where you have
here we go.
Of your choice in terms of difficulty and challenge and reward. Diablo is all about
King. What's up, dude?
Right, and sort of blasting and feeling efficient. So we wanted to take a step back after looking at itemization. We've added a ton of itemization progression that we think is feeling.
The one you watched had timestamps. Was there one? Like, this is on their official. Oh, their timestamps are here. Oh, okay. So they don't have. That's weird. So they put them in here, but it didn't put them in the bar. That's interesting. Okay. All right. So progression goals. Okay, so that's where we're at. Okay, progression goals and character journey. Okay.
To customize your character, there's a lot of ways to progress your itemization. And we
you got a 2GA Grandpa Pod? Nice, Chris. That's awesome, dude.
That came in the form of, like, what hasn't aged super well? What are the things that we really enjoy and we see that you all enjoy, and doubling down on that. So two of those things are difficulty and overall just character progression from your paragon to your glyphs.
All right, Raze, no problem, brother.
Sort of taken the approach of, like, really
why do you say it's BS?
Embracing again what has been really fun, right? Blasting, being efficient, having control over your challenge and reward, right? Profane mind cages is awesome when you can stack it to 3.
This is probably the biggest thing, right? When you're looking at these things, like, add the challenge and reward to compensate for all the extra power.
And you can hop into those hell tides and just start getting tons of experience and reward for pushing.
You might not like what they did to Sork. Yeah, I don't know any of the stuff for Sork.
Like Nightmare Dungeons, Infernal Hordes, really pretty much every endgame in the system.
Like, I even avoided looking at a lot of the partner stuff just so like I'll look at it all after I watch this. The biggest takeaway, Myers fam over on Twitch, what's up, brother? Is still barbarians are still God mode, of course.
It has a tiering system associated with it, and we think that's, like, pretty indicative of, like, what has been fun, and we want to embrace that. And part of that is, you know, that idea of I can push really hard to get more efficiency. Part of that's conquering milestones, right? It's really good. It's a ton of fun to hop into World Tier 3 early. I think I hopped in at level 25 in the latest release just to see if I could do it, and it was a ton of fun. And it's sort of all about embracing that gaining power in multiple ways, feeling super powerful. And then another thing that we really
guys,
wanted to
Barb's
look at
nerf?
in terms of making this better is alting. We made a change to make it so that
I just made a whole video on how Barbarian is the best class in the game again.
It's a really badass experience where, you know, roll a Barbarian, slap your grandfather on him, and you just blast through the leveling experience, and it's a ton of fun. That being said, we've added tons of sort of power to the equation, and we wanted to make sure that we also gave you more autonomy to sort of challenge yourself with all that new power, and we're adding a ton of new power in the expansion as well. So to cover it again, right, we want to look at expanding the progression in other areas of the game come patch 2.0. So with that, Aislinn actually has a bunch of exciting changes to talk about here.
I do. Thank you, Colin. Okay, everyone, I want you to put on your thinking caps because we have a lot of details.
Burr, you think Rogue's the best class in the game? Interesting.
We, in fact, have a topic screen here because
Colin
there's so
is
many
a huge
things regarding progression that we're going to be talking about today.
Well, to that comment, Raze, like, there's a lot of things right now in D3 that work very well. There's a lot of things that work very well in D3. Like there's some systems in D3 that work very well. I'm not saying overall D3 is like the greatest ARPG in the game, for sure not. But there's definitely some really good mechanics in Diablo 3 that work well that would be fine in Diablo 4.
So the way that we're approaching this presentation is we're basically going to be
Because I mean, if you think about it, the pit is literally Nightmare Dungeons, or the pit is literally Greater Rifts. It's the same thing.
bringing you through what a character's
But
journey
let's
would
see, because
look like.
I have a feeling that you're referencing something in here, and I just want to
starting
watch
by
it.
talking about the character journey, and then talking about some difficulty tier changes that are coming, and then going deeper into.
He said very well. Why you got to go backwards? Well, the thing is that maybe the devs have tried to go forward and try new things, and it just hasn't worked. You know what I mean? Like the new stuff just hasn't worked. You know, maybe it could be that. I don't know. Let's see though.
How
we'll revisit that. Let's put a pin in it, and we'll revisit it once we finish watching
difficulty tiers. So yeah, without further ado, let's simply jump in and get started with the character journey. Okay, so some changes.
I kind of want your guys' thoughts on each thing we do going through here for those that are hanging out.
Coming to how you're going to be leveling up. There's going to be a level adjustment.
So a new max level of 60.
Coming to patch 2.0. Right now in the live game, you go from character level 1 to 50. Those are your skill point levels. And then every level after 50 is a Paragon level where you're earning 4 Paragon points per Paragon level. We're going to be splitting those out in patch 2.0. And so you're going to earn Paragon points, which are going to be separate from your character level. Levels 1 to 50 represent those character levels. And there's also going to be a new max character level, quote unquote, of level 60. And that means that you are going to be earning 10 more skill points from what you had been earning pre-patch 2.0.
So the new max level is 60, and we're gaining 10 more skill points. So we're going to put skill points into other skills, like more passive, stuff like that. Okay.
There's also going to be a reimagined pace to the leveling journey. So we have a lot of new difficulty tiers that are being added to the game. More on that
good.
Soon.
I like more difficulty
but
tiers.
Effectively, lower difficulty tiers are going to be offering you a slower pace if you're a near player, you just want a very casual, chill experience. But you're going to be able to bump it up if you want to. Like if you're, engaging with tempering, you're engaging with all these systems that are making your character stronger, and you want something to test that against, we're aiming to give that to you. And these difficulty tiers are going to be offering you improved efficiency, improved rewards, and the goal is to improve your pace if you can blast through these difficulties.
Yeah, this is a lot like the mine cages, right? Like we sort of heard, we heard you like mine cages, so we put it in the game systemically, like from Whispers to Helltide to literally everything in the world. Like maybe you like doing dungeons, and really it's sort of like giving players that choice to do what they want, and it's not just Helltide now that can push that difficulty.
Yeah, totally. Like we were just playing on the development team, and we were playing in Helltides and playing with mine cages, and we were like, this is great. Like I want to just be able to do this, or like have this option available to me, like basically whenever I'm playing.
Andy,
so that's a big part of these changes.
I don't know yet, Andy. I will. It's probably explained later, so we'll talk about it. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff as we're going through.
Moving on,
because I haven't watched this yet.
Here to the number adjustments. So as a lot of you guys found in footage, yes, there is a pretty substantial number adjustment. So a big part of this is we want to make sure that there's room for growth. And we're adding a lot of player power in patch 2.0 and Vessel of Hatred. And we want to make sure that numbers don't get so crazy that we cannot even fathom them, right? And so a big part of this is giving us a good starting point in patch 2.0 where we can afford to grow numbers.
Aislinn, I think it's really important, to have numbers that are like when you're like doing damage numbers to see ones that are meaningful to you, right? If you're increasing your damage like even 10x, but it's taking it from like an 8 or 9-digit number to a 10-digit number, it's almost impossible to see that kind of growth in player
That's
power.
true.
So
That's very true.
With numbers that are more readable on screen, that A makes it much more obvious when you're getting more powerful, and just makes the game as a whole easier to kind of comprehend.
Totally.
Yeah, and it's important to note that like this is relative, in that we're not slowing you down in any way. This is purely sort of one of those adjustments that we're making to ensure that you can have more growth in that.
Yeah, I mean, how do you guys feel about like when the game first released, how slow it was, how slow you moved, how much longer it took to kill monsters? Like, I'm not really sure that even in that initial approach, like that was a good thing. I don't know why, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because me as an individual player, like I like to play much faster, and I just enjoy slaying mobs, as opposed to like, oh, there's this elite pack, and it's going to take me 10 minutes to kill this elite pack. Wow, how fun was that?
End game, we're not
Retower,
at the
what's
top
up?
end nerfing things like crit chance or CDR. Really, this is all about having actually like sort of what we set out to do when we launched the game is have more grounded numbers for longer. That's not to
Burr,
say
why
that
you
aren't
don't
gonna get
you like the level
insane
cap
in
going
deep
up?
end game, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're still going to have a lot of power to game. And yeah, finally, just going back to this first bullet here on this slide, we're going to talk more about Paragon later, but for now we're going to focus on some other things. So sit tight. Okay, let's talk about how monsters are changing.
All right.
So we've streamlined monster health and damage in a pretty big way. We took a look at how monsters gain health and how they gain damage over different difficulty tiers. And we've really like honed in and kind of universalized our approach to how they're gaining power throughout your character experience.
So monsters scale to a
And
pit
this is going
tier.
to be applying to all monster types. You know, normal monsters, minions, which are elites, little buddies.
Ooh, I love
elites
this.
themselves, and of course
I
bosses.
love
and all
this
of these
down here.
monsters now have health that's relative to their normal monster counterpart on any given like difficulty.
The monsters aren't nerfed.
And what this does is it really helps smooth difficulty progression and the difficulty of any experience that you're currently in. Secondly, we have some changes to monster scaling. So monsters are going to scale to a pit tier, and we're going to talk more about that as well pretty soon too. So sit tight. And the big thing here is that monsters are always going to match the player level now. So on live, we have a world where monsters can be, 100 levels offset of you and anywhere in between. And that can be fairly hard to understand. And so a big part of this pass is kind of removing that element of the game so that we can focus on what difficulty we're currently in and using that as the judge of how hard or how easy or wherever in between the content you're currently in is. And finally, we have some pretty cool combat tuning changes. So we've taken a lot of looks at, like the
like this is really good right
pacing
here.
in the game.
The reduce of one shot, boss HP,
across the board have been adjusted
super
to really
good.
hone in on player momentum. You're here to slaughter demons. We want you to move quickly through the game.
So, Chris, think about it like this. So what monster scaling means is, so as opposed to just like in our current system, how we have like your level 100 and you're fighting a level 200 monster and their HP, damage, and all that is scaled at level 200. Instead, they're going to be our level, but their HP, damage, and everything is going to be based on the game mode difficulty you choose. Does that make sense? So, like, let's say if you're playing on normal, the monsters have HP XYZ, but then if you play on hard, they're still going to be your same level 100 monsters, but because you're playing on hard as opposed to normal, they're going to have much more HP, they'll deal much more damage, etc. But you're going to see them be the same level as you. So now they're going to scale with the player, but then it's also going to be based on the difficulty of the game that you're playing in. So like no more world tiers, right? Like, or I guess there is world tiers, but like it's similar like in Diablo 3 with all the tormented levels. The higher you go up in torment on Diablo 3, the harder the monsters are, even though they're the same level as you. So that's monster scaling. There's a lot of people that aren't necessarily a fan of monster scaling. I've always been a fan of it because it's based on you being in the difficulty that you want to choose, as opposed to like, oh, hey, I'm in World Tier 4, where really that doesn't matter, because if you're fighting monsters that are, 80 levels higher than you, it's very hard to fight them, right? So that's why the progression system is going to feel so much smoother, is how they describe it, because as you're leveling and you're like level 20, 30, 40 and you want to go up in difficulty, that's going to feel real smooth going up. You know what I mean? As opposed to like how rigid it is. Like when you defeat the capstone currently and you go from, you're like a level 28 rogue and you defeat the capstone and you go to World Tier 3 and you're fighting like level 58 monsters as a 25 guy. Like, it's like those monsters are incredibly difficult to fight. But now you're going to go up and it's just going to scale. So I've always been a fan of it, but a lot of people don't necessarily like it. But this down here is huge because monster mechanics, this is the issue with the pit currently in pushing. Like people like right now, like Makuna on Sorceress can go to 150, but he can't beat the bosses. Like there's a couple builds that he has that can beat the bosses, but besides that, for example, Ball Lightning. So he can do a 140, I think he did, with Ball Lightning, but he can't kill the boss because he doesn't have enough time to kill it because the boss HP and everything is just too high.
And we don't necessarily want monsters to be slowing you down.
But this right here, this line here is reducing the instances of getting one shot. Yeah, this just needs to go away.
Especially normal monsters.
I like this. I love monster scaling.
To achieve this,
I like that.
We've reduced instances of getting one shot like out of nowhere. And we've also adjusted boss HP so that they're not quite as grindy after you're moving in from, after blasting down AoE packs in the pit, for example.
Yeah, it was definitely a pain point. Oh, great comment.
Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, just saying, right, that's always been the pain point in the pit so far, is like, hey, you're really strong, you blast through most of the dungeon, and then you get up to the boss, and the boss takes, 5 minutes or more. That's just like such a slog. So we're definitely making sure it's
because like no one plays the pit exactly
in a given.
But even if people played the pit, like that's why I like that one clip that Rage Gaming put in his video of me on Twitter complaining about like the one-shotting in the pit. Like that's why it never made sense to me. Like the pit is essentially like doing a dungeon currently. It's like doing a nightmare dungeon. And you're like telling me that I'm going up against a nightmare dungeon boss. I'm going up against the Tomb Lord, and he's just one-shotting me, and it's taking me, 8 minutes out of my 15 to kill him. Like, he's not even an Uber boss. I can kill the Uber boss in 5 seconds, but I can't kill a Tomb Lord? It's like, okay, all right, whatever.
Tier, you're going to have a...
Why would you ever play the pit now when the hordes give you 300 plus materials? Oh, no, that's what we're saying. They're talking about just the scaling and using the pit as an example. Now, right now, hordes are for season, but they will be in the game permanently. And right now, you would never do the pit. You never do the pit. Yeah, Rays. Hordes are going to be in the game permanently. They'll be in every season and then Eternal.
More consistent experience across boss and other portions of the game.
Yeah, and we've already taken a lot of steps towards this. In one of the previous seasons, we set it so that you wouldn't get armor cap penalties as
Linnell, you're 100% right. The only reason that we would do the pit is if they change the resources we gain from doing the Infernal Hordes.
On the back end to make sure that like a lot of the things are really being reworked on the back end to address the problems we see on live with the crazy exponential scaling of boss health from like 4 different multipliers and the crazy exponential damage that some of the monsters are getting. It's like the corpse bow, of course.
The corpse bow is just...
A lot of those things should be much more consistent as you're climbing through those.
The corpse bow is ridiculous, man.
More about in the future or in this presentation.
Very soon, in fact.
Let's see what they say.
like right now.
Difficulty
Difficulty
tiers.
Let's talk about it. So,
Art
this
by
is our
Colin.
beautiful,
I love it.
Blizzard illustration, if you will,
Art
of
by
current day.
Colin.
Art by Colin. Thank you very much.
Gotta call out Colin. Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
no.
We've got
We're gonna
the.
get art for this.
This is art. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
This is beautiful.
Modern art. Yeah, you can see we have the
Hey,
big
Project, what's
bone
up?
boss. Very, very sad at the current state of things up there. So what this is basically illustrating is that there are basically brackets right now on live where various content is relevant. You have world bosses that stay relevant for a certain amount of time. You have Helltide that stays relevant, maybe a little bit longer than world bosses do. And then you have world tiers 1 and 2. Then you have world tier 3, which is, very sad. Sorry, world tier 3.
Yeah.
And then
Pull
world
out
tier
a
4.
magnifying glass, you can see it.
Yeah. Maybe if you look really close.
Minister's like, who's in World Tier 3?
And then World Tier 4, which has like a bit of a tail, but still pretty short. And then we compare it to like where our character's power currently exists, which is, you've got level 1 to 100, and then of course your journey throughout all of the pit tiers. And basically what this is illustrating is a lot of these content types fall off. World bosses don't stay relevant forever. Helltide doesn't stay relevant forever.
Nope.
The world tiers you're living on in the open world don't stay relevant. And
Agreed.
eventually it simply becomes about running the pit. And that's the place where you can judge your character's strength. We don't necessarily want the game to work that way.
I'm glad they said that they don't want it to work that way, because here's the thing. The majority of players, in my opinion, you guys can agree or disagree with me, I think the majority, and when I say the majority, I'm going to say like higher than 80%. It might be closer to 90%. I think that the majority of players do not care. I repeat, do not care about challenging their build to complete a high pit run. I don't think that they care about doing that currently with the game. I don't think they do. And the main reason for that is, one, it's because there's no rewards. There's no rewards. And there's no leaderboard. And now with Infernal Hordes, now there's really no reason to like fight higher. Like the majority of players like want to play like Diablo, especially Diablo 4, and they want to destroy monsters. They want to destroy monsters. They don't care about like testing their build because there's no reward to it, right? So like there's no reward to like testing the strength of my character at all. Like who cares? What do I get from it? Oh, I get 8 ancestral legendaries and some masterworking mats. Okay. Sweet. Like, however, there is some players, a very small percentage of players that like to like, well, how high can I push this build? How high can I do it? And that's fine. But the leaderboard on Diablo 3 for the rifts is great. I still seriously believe that they need to just get rid of the gauntlet. They need to make the pit the leaderboard thing, and that's it.
We want a lot of activities to stay fun and interesting and engaging for as long as possible. And so to accomplish that, we've got some
Exactly,
pretty big
Chris,
changes
exactly.
coming to difficulty tiers.
So let's see what they say.
So let's dive into the meat and potatoes of this, talking about pit arbitration. And that's just a fancy way of basically saying that the pit
Yo,
is
Dom,
going
what's
to
up?
be something behind the scenes that's setting the pace of all
5
difficulty in
pit
the game across
tiers.
all content types. So pit tiers are going to match difficulty tiers. There's going to be 5 pit tiers per standard difficulty, which is just encapsulating 4 new world tiers pre-level 60, which are normal, hard, expert, and penitent.
Okay.
And then there will be 15 pit tiers per torment difficulty. And there are going to be 4 torment difficulty tiers, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, I see. So what they're doing is that there's going to be 15 pit tiers here, 15 higher than that. So like if this is 15, this goes to 30. this goes to 45, and then this goes to 60. Okay.
Difficulty tiers are going to derive monster health, damage, and intensity from the pit tier that is associated with that difficulty tier. And I know that's a little complicated, but we're going to have some supporting stuff to show what this means a little better pretty soon.
Yeah.
I do want to call out intensity here. Colin, do you want to talk about monster intensity raising between difficulty tiers?
Yeah, so intensity is something we played around.
Yeah, Dom, I worked all day, man. So I've seen a lot of the like still images and stuff, but I haven't watched it, so I want to hear what they have to say. And it's good because I wanted to talk to you guys about this stuff.
Run within the base game, and it's sprinkled out throughout the game. But what intensity is it's a backend system that controls monster aggressiveness as well as monster intelligence. So by aggressiveness, it's things like they attack faster, they have lower cooldowns, they move faster, and then intelligence is they predict your movement more, they'll face you more. So if you know it has a big swing, it's actually going to try and track you a little bit more accurately. So it's not just the health and damage that's going up through these difficulty tiers. The monsters are actually becoming a little bit more dynamic. And
Adam just looks so sick, bro.
That feels pretty good, especially when it's sort of scaling through the new difficulties here system that we have.
Yeah, this is something we do have on the live game, but you know, in the new patch 2.0, you're really going to feel that difference. Currently, you feel a little bit of difference in between the different world tiers, and that's just going to be magnified. And your moment-to-moment combat it's not just going to be higher numbers. The moment-to-moment will feel different and harder at these higher torment difficulties.
Yep, they're going to become bigger jerks as you ascend difficulties. All right, so let's talk about difficulty gating. So this is basically how people are going to be moving through these different difficulty tiers. So the pit is going to unlock once you hit character level 60, which is the new maximum character level in patch 2.0. So pit tiers associated with standard difficulties are going to unlock immediately, which is pit tiers 1 through 20. You're going to be able to challenge all of those immediately once you're max level. And you're going to need to beat pit tier 20 to unlock the first torment tier. Once you beat pit tier 20, you're allowed to go into the overworld on torment 1. And then, as we see here, there are 15 pit tiers per...
No spoilers, Dom.
...per torment difficulties. So to unlock torment 2, you would then need to progress through the pit and beat pit tier 35, at which point you can now go into torment 2 in all other activities, so on and so forth. So this is basically creating a... Sorry, go ahead, Colin.
Oh, I was going to jump in and say, like, what's kind of interesting is, like, Torment 1 you can think about as World Tier 3 today. And what we're sort of doing is essentially saying, now that level cap is 60, you actually can find some of the best items in the game very early, right? Imagine if you were able to just start finding the best items in the game in World Tier 3. That's really sort of what we're talking about here. We're really speeding up when you can actually get to the end game where we've added things like...
She gave it away? Yeah.
Things like nightmare dungeons and more end game activity.
Yeah, I got you, Dom. I'm just saying no spoilers for the thing.
He's free to engage with an item modification system. So it really is sort of getting you into the fun faster, which also makes alting a lot more cool.
Yeah,
right?
the level cap is 60, Leno.
Sort of get to that point where, all right, I'm in the end game. I'm going to start looking for awesome items. I'm going to start modifying my items. So we think that like...
So level cap is 60 and no. So it's... So the level cap is 60 before Paragon, which is similar to how the game is now where it's 50 before Paragon. You'll still go to level 100, but everything you gain after 60 will be Paragon points.
Sort of represents a pretty substantial change to how you play the game.
Oh, yeah,
for
absolutely.
us wondering why we kind of built it around the pit, you know, and why we associate...
Yeah, this is good. I like this. I want to see what he has to say about this.
How do y'all think about that?
Yeah, so right now the pit is a fantastic razor to judge your character against. And I think that this overhaul is effectively turning the pit into the game's backbone, to use kind of a gruesome term, but, you know, we're Diablo, so whatever. It's basically turning the pit into the game's backbone of, like, difficulty. And all other difficulties is kind of derived from that. And it gives us a very predictable and understandable pace for you to experience all other activities in the game based on the pit's difficulty.
So it's interesting. I understand the explanation that they're giving for the pit and making it with the difficulty of the game. I don't know. Let me see what to say.
Yeah, and that razor is great for pushing difficulty, right? You think about how part of what's really fun, again, about Diablo is that feeling of progression.
Wait. Did I miss something, guys? Is it not 60 and then you still go to 100 while you're getting Paragon, or you stop at 60 and your max character level is 60, not 100? Did I misunderstand that? So the max is 60, and then I just gain Paragon points. Okay.
Becoming powerful than taking on
So it's 10 levels less than actually Diablo 4 or Diablo 3.
Big ass demon, killing it, getting awesome loot. And what the pit is going to do is you're going to push that difficulty, then unlock new torment tiers, which is going to unlock more efficiency for you. And you can sort of think about it as like we've added not just a world tier 5, but a world tier 5 and 6 as part of this torment.
I like the additional torments and levels, that's for sure.
On as characters become more powerful and we add new ways to sort of play through the system.
Yeah, and I think it's also a lot about consistency across content, right? Currently in the live game, we've got a lot of different levels of different types of things, right? You've got Nightmare Dungeon keys, you've got pit levels, you've got Infernal Horde tiers. And we just kind of realized that, hey, the pit is something that we have, really good delineation between the different levels. So you've got a wide spread of different tiers for that. And that's something we can kind of peg difficulty against across the whole game to make a more consistent experience. When you're in a certain difficulty tier, you're just going to get a more consistent experience across all activities.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when you're on Torment 2, you're going to know that all the content you're
Prison.
facing is on the level of Torment 2. But right now on the live game, you go into a pit tier 50 and you're like, okay, it's pit tier 50 difficulty. And then you go into a Nightmare Dungeon tier 50 and it's a totally different difficulty. And then you go into an Infernal Hordes tier 8 and you're like, wait a minute, this is extremely hard compared.
Now, what she just said, I do like. I do like that they are going to overhaul the difficulty, so no matter what piece of content you're doing, the difficulty is the same until you want to go higher in the pit. I do 100% like that. Like she said, it is like you go and you do a Nightmare Dungeon tier 50, and then you just did a pit 120. Like the difficulty is so different. So I do like that.
Compared to these other ones, they're just not similar, right? And so we want to create a more level playing field so that difficulty is easier to understand. Well,
Demon, I think they're saying it's annoying because now you're not going to see level 100 on your bar or your character. It's just going to say 60.
It's also
so the pit's like a kind of common language and shared experience.
But how do the mobs levels match mine no matter what difficulty? Right. So that's what's called scaling, Dom. So the scaling is whatever level you are. So if you're 60, the monster level is going to say 60. The HP damage that they do will be based on the difficulty of the game you choose to play in. Does that make sense? So instead of fighting like a level 200 monster, instead of fighting that, you're going to fight a level 60 monster, but the damage and stuff is going to feel higher based on the world tier difficulty or whatever the difficulty that you pick. It makes sense? Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll check it out now.
Benefit, and it's also, in some sense, leveling up all the activities. Like, I know that there's some people who really enjoy Whispers, for example, and Whispers just falls off. Like,
so the basic way to think about it, Dom, is that the monsters will have. So it's similar to this. I got some images here because I saw some of them. Like they're the difficulties here, but here's so this was always great. So for Diablo 3, this is this is monster scaling. So this is monster scaling in Diablo 3. So you have your normal, hard, expert, master, and then all your torment levels is 16. Okay? See how the monster health goes up? Monster damage goes up? Right? So this is scaling based on the difficulty that you're fighting in. However, the monster level is still going to say whatever your monster level is. So this just scales. Yeah, so all like the monster health and damage will scale based on the difficulty that you're playing at. So even though the monster level will say 60 because you're max level, if you're playing in Torment 16, well, the monsters have this much more health and they deal this much more damage. Yeah, it's literally the same thing as this. I like monster scaling. Some people don't. I like monster scaling. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's how that's going to work.
Like if you're doing the pit and you're level 100, you're level 90 in the pit, like whispers are terrible, right? Like you're not actually going to run whispers when you're pushing.
I'm so happy Colin said that because Tree of Whispers is absolute garbage.
That deep into the game. But now when sort of things are leveling up with torment tiers, you have a place to go and sort of juice the efficiency from those different activities if you like that activity.
Yeah, and this kind of carries over to
there needs to be a full overhaul of Tree of Whispers, man. It's absolute garbage.
Other activities, not just Whispers. It's like
Tree of Whispers sucks, man.
Yeah, the whole world is leveling, right?
Yeah, like which is another thing. Like
6 weeks, Dom. 6 weeks.
Obviously, was introduced in season 5, is coming back, and is a permanent feature within the game, and is also going up with the rest of the content.
I wonder how many more tiers we're gonna get of the Infernal Horde.
All right.
So here you go. Here we go.
So let's talk a little more about the details of difficulty tiers. So on the right-hand side here, you can see this table. It's basically...
So we're only going to 65 so the associated pit tier difficulty is 65, but you can go higher than 65.
Going off the associated pit tier.
Oh, the highest pit tier has been reduced to 100? So there's only 35 more levels at Torment 4?
With any given difficulty tier. So normal simply starts on 1, and then like we saw before,
I
it goes
like
up by
that
5 each time until you get to torment tiers, at which point
I kind of wish it was 150, but 100's fine.
it goes up by 15 each time. So torment 4 lands on 65, torment 1 starts on 20. And in light of this, we have changed the highest pit tier to be 100, down from 200. And this doesn't mean that...
Yeah, seeing as how, like, the current system, barely anybody could get to 150. I mean, come on.
The pit tier 100 is going to be the same difficulty as it is on live. It's going to be harder. So each pit tier you're going up is going to be harder than it was before, effectively. And we also have this pretty neat new system where we have smart keys.
Wait a second. So... She just said that the current pit tier of 100 in the current live is going to be the same as this, but it's going to be a little bit harder. Interesting. It's got to be a lot harder, right? Like I have a feeling like this pit tier of 100 is probably going to be equal to like a 150 is my guess. Like this will probably equal like a 150 currently is my guess.
And what that means is your things like Infernal Hordes or Nightmare Dungeons, the keys to enter those activities are now going to follow the current difficulty tier that you're on. So if I have an Infernal Horde key and I'm on Torment 3 and I use it, I'm going to go into a Torment 3 difficulty Infernal Horde. And the same is true for Nightmare Dungeons. So we're pretty excited about that change because, again, you know, coming back to all these things we've talked about where it just kind of makes things easier, just makes life easier.
Yeah, it's a big quality of life change because on live right now you get a bunch of sacred, Nightmare Dungeon keys, and I'm sure everyone runs a ton of World Tier 3 Nightmare Dungeons, right? You definitely don't just pop in to get a sacred weapon, but what I'm getting at is a lot of those keys just end up getting salvaged. And now, when all keys can sort of carry weight through various torment tiers, getting a nightmare key is this interesting choice of like, well, do I keep it or do I run it now? Because if I keep it, I can just use it at a later time. And it's really about giving the players that choice on when do they want to run this content. We're not just
Okay, so we actually can
and say, oh, in Torment 2, you
so
need
we can
to
even
find a new
save
key to
it.
do this
Okay.
thing. So I think it's definitely making key management a lot easier and more fluid as well. One thing on the pit, Aislinn, that I think is really interesting is we definitely have rescaled the pit. Tier 100 is sort of like our 200 on live, but I think that's something that we definitely want to keep an eye out on PTR. We don't have any problems with increasing the amount.
Oh, okay. So I was wrong. So the new 100, when we do the PTR, is the current in-game live game level 200. We only have a couple builds that can currently beat a 150. Like there's only like 3 builds in the game that can do it. So if the new 100 is going to be equal the current 200, we better have some insane buffs to our damage and our like abilities, our Paragon board, everything. Otherwise, we're never going to beat it. We're going to be in the same exact spot we are now.
Of pit tiers, like this is something we can definitely.
They're going to have to change it, man. They're going to have to reduce it. I'm sorry.
Revisit if we see in PTR that you all are insane, which is probably going to happen, and you beat tier 100. We really like that it's a razor and measuring stick, and we don't want to take that away from players. So that's something that we want to get PTR feedback, and we could really use your help in breaking that system and seeing how far you can push it.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. And like we've said on this stream, there are going to be a lot of new player power opportunities coming.
Yeah, I got to see what they have to say about these
please
buffs, because
show us what you got, as they say.
That is true, Crimson. Very good point. It is. So if they make the PTR, the current level 100 pit, if they make that the equivalent to the current 200, which nobody can beat, it's easier just to scale it back than to buff it, right? So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know about that, man. This is gonna be wild.
So let's talk about.
I don't know.
Let's just dive a little more into the details. I think we went over a lot of this stuff already, but we can kind of go through this slide here. So yeah, all content in the game exists within an expanded difficulty tier selection, like we were talking about. I think an important thing to call out here is that, for example, Penitent is, if you're comparing it just to like kind of understand what it's going to look like relative to live right now, Penitent's kind of going to end up being like World Tier 2 if you added 45 monster levels on top of it. And that's intended to kind of be the upper echelon of like pre-max level character leveling. So if you really want to amp up the difficulty to as hard as you can make it, like going on to Penitent is where you want to be. And this is just a lovely little visual aid. We've got some cool new icons for these difficulty tiers.
They are cool looking.
Normal, hard, expert, and penitent. It gets harder as you keep going.
So basically what this is saying is that we will start in Pennant. If Pennant is the equivalent of World Tier 2, then we will be starting in Pennant. Holy crap.
Okay, so yeah, and
this is the thing that I'm very interested in what they have to say, because reward scaling, higher difficulties improve more gold, more experience. What's this? What's more efficiency?
I really want this to be like opt-in, not progression locked. And so the vanilla Diablo 4 difficulty tiers kind of operated as progression tiers, right? And what I mean by progression tiers is the moment you get to World Tier 3, as Colin was saying, like you unlock sacred items, maybe you go into a dungeon so you can find a sacred weapon. And these things unlock so quickly and they drop so frequently that you kind of just got this huge burst of power, and you never really got to feel that power. And we want to make sure that you are like feeling each upgrade you get in the game, and it feels really, really punchy. And we really want these new difficulty tiers to be player guided. Like,
Joe, what's up, man?
We want you to be able to make your own decisions on when you're moving on to the next one and what's the right pace for you. And of course, these new difficulty tiers are going to give you improving rewards. You're going to find more gold.
Hold on. Now, when you guys made a character, like when you first made one, and you jumped to World Tier 3 and you got a sacred item, and that like weapon gave you like plus 600 damage, like, did you guys not feel it? I don't know about that.
More experience, and you're going to have more loot efficiency per difficulty tier. So the higher difficulty tier you can fight the game on, the more efficient your experience is going to be effectively.
Yeah, and I think that's really
Go ahead, Charles.
Good go. Yeah, I was just saying that's really like what I view as the differentiating factor between, you know, what current V4 is and in the new patch 2.0 is if you enter Torment 1, you can find the best item in Torment 1. You could complete your character and get full best in slot and everything. It's just going to take a while, right? It's going to be less efficient. You're going to be getting less loot. And whereas in the live game right now, right, you just can't find the best things in World Tier 3. You are kind of obligated to go to that World Tier 4. And now, if you're able...
Yeah, Passion, he goes, I'm in World Tier 3 for 10 minutes. I do one horde, and then I'm in World Tier 4. World Tier 3 doesn't exist, so sacred items are useless. I agree with that. Like, because of how fast you can get through World Tier 3, yes. But, like, if you're just leveling, and as soon as you enter World Tier 3 and then you get a sacred item and equip it, and it's like plus 600 or 700 weapon damage, you feel how much stronger you are. So, like, that part of it doesn't make sense. But if they're coming at it from like, oh, you don't feel it because you get through World Tier 3 so quick, then yes, then I would agree.
To clear higher torments with efficiency, that's just going to be the best option for you to find the gear more efficiently. But
Rax made a good point. Finding items with 20 damage, then all of a sudden 150 damage items drops. You felt that? Yeah.
Forced into Torment 4 to find the best items in the game.
Yeah, that's something I've really liked about it is that, you know, we get to start the end game a lot earlier with Torment, right? Because there's nothing that you're excluded from. There's no awesome piece of loot that you can't find by Torment 1, and so you get to really start to test your build after it's kind of gotten some real optimization. I think much earlier into the journey than before.
Yeah, they are really doing Diablo 3. Oh my god, it's really Diablo 3. Because that, guys, that like this chart, that's exactly what happens in Diablo 3. You go through here, right? Your normal ones. And as soon as you hit Torment 1, you can find every item in the game. Every class piece, every set piece, primal ancients, everything. The only thing that's different is when you go up, you need the better items or like to get your stuff more perfected in order to increase this. And the only way that you can really go up in the tiers is right at like as you're getting Paragon. Like to do T16, you need to have like a max character plus a good amount of Paragon to do T16. Dude even said it. You might be thinking D3, what if we see something works? Why not use it? Worded differently? Yeah. I don't mind this system as far as progression. I've never minded it. I enjoyed it in Diablo 3. However, it's just funny that they're just like not saying it's that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Jeevan. And like a great example of that is what we're doing with the ladder bosses or the lair bosses.
The difference is that you won't be heading straight. You can't head straight to T16 in Diablo 3. It takes time. Like in Diablo 3 in its current state, you have to have a full class set plus items and at least a few hundred Paragon to do T16. Otherwise, you can't do it. Like even after you hit like level 70, like you can barely do like T5, like Torment 5 or Torment 6, like barely. Like if you have like a good weapon, you like a level 70 weapon, then you could probably do T6, Torment 6, but you can't do anything higher until you start getting stuff. Yeah, because Diablo 4 doesn't have sets, Crimson, it will feel different. It's going to take longer. But my point is that what they're trying to do is like, well, you can get into Torment 1, find all the gear pieces, and you're going to have to get your build like set up really well, level up your glyphs and all this stuff in order to go up into the Torment 2, 3, 4. And it's the same thing in Diablo. Same thing in Diablo 3, right? The comparison is that I reach 70, I'm doing Torment 5. I got to complete and get stronger gear. And then when I get my class set, now I can go to Torment 10. And then when I finish it and I'm gaining Paragon, now I can go to Torment 16. Like, yeah, it's going to be different, but the same. Yeah, it's going to be different, but the same.
All of those unlock in Torment 1. The cost to summon them is static. It remains the same throughout all the Torment tiers. And what that means is if you can beat it on a higher Torment tier, you're going to get way more uniques. So you get a handful of uniques.
So see, guys, this was the reason I'm more for this is because you guys have heard me talk in the past how bored I am with the game. So like this is going to help the progression of getting through the game, and because it's going to take longer to reach the end game, I think that's better to a degree because it gives you more stuff to do. It's worth the journey. As an example, and it's not going to be as long as like Path of Exile, but I'm guaranteed it'll be longer than how it is in Diablo 3.
Starting in Torment 1, way more uniques, and obviously Torment 4, but the cost, because it remains static, we're not going to ask you to get anything extra like a Stygian Stone. That just means as long as you can kill that Torment 4 boss, you're getting way more efficiency out of that boss.
Yep,
really
that's how it should be, man.
It feels amazing to sort of progress through those.
That's how it should be.
Just unlock way more power.
That's just how it should be, man.
Yeah, we don't really have this differentiation of like a regular version of the late game boss, like a regular version of Duriel, and then the tormented echo of Duriel. That's not really a distinction that we have anymore. Whereas like previously it would cost
Demon, you're right.
more materials to summon the tormented version, but it would give more rewards. Now it's the same cost across the different torment tiers. It's just if you're able to conquer him on Torment 4, that's where you're gonna get the absolute most bang for your buck in terms of resources in to loot out.
Yeah, so that's kind of similar to like how PoE is, right? Like you can do the regular boss or you could do the uber bosses, which will give you better loot, that's how it should be, right? I mean, hitting the end game in 3 days, Burr just says it's boring. Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing. We will probably get to Torment 1 fairly quickly. The issue will be perfecting the build to get through the higher tiers, because that's going to be harder to do. So now it's going to make farming feel way better. Like now we'll be like exactly like Demon just said. We'll be in the end game probably in the same amount of time, but then it's going to take us longer to get to the like real end game, which is good.
Yeah. And I want to just
yeah, exactly.
double
No,
down on,
actually,
like,
yeah.
Torment.
This won't be as long. Like it won't be as hard as PoE to get like a full maxed out character, but it's going to be something.
1 is where the end game starts now, and just each torment tier that you're ascending is making your end game, more fun, basically.
Exactly. That's how it should be, man.
Cooler stuff.
I ain't gonna lie, man. The devs are cooking right now.
Okay.
Ooh, here we go.
Enough about difficulty tiers. Let's move on to some itemization.
Okay, guys. So how do we feel, real quick, about the difficulty tiers? How do we feel about all that? I like it. I like that change. I don't know about you guys, but I like the change. Reed Tower over on Twitch says I'm down. Hell yeah. Crimson loves them. I'm with it too, man. The devs are cooking. I don't have a single complaint about it so far. I don't have a single complaint about the difficulty tiers. I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good.
Changes. So, item strength. We have what I like to call the
Dahlia,
item power
welcome
shuffle
back.
happening in patch 2.0. Items with item power above 5.
Linnell said, I love D3, and honestly, I love the return to form on difficulty tiers. Me too, man. Demon says I might have to start Season 6 as a rogue. All right, well, let's keep going. Let's keep going because I might be changing. I might be dropping sorceress and going rogue, druid, or barbarian. Obviously, we'll be starting like with Spiritborn. I have to start as a Spiritborn, but let's see what we got going on.
540 are going to be adjusted
No
to
spoilers.
540. And affix bands in lieu of this, or in addition to this rather, are going to be adjusted as well. So yeah, items at the new character level max they're gonna max out at 750. And that's not actually the highest item power that's going to be in the game, and we'll talk about that more in just a second. But most items you're going to be finding once you hit max character level will be item power 750. And you're going to be finding much better item power items from levels 51 to 59. There's going to be big item power jumps. So once you start leveling your character past those original 50 character levels, you're going to start finding a lot better gear. Okay, so let's take a look at what an ancestral item looks like in patch 2.0.
Okay.
Oh, could we? Yeah, let's take a look here real quick. So you'll notice here that this item has 800 item power, which is 50 higher than the max 750 that I was talking about before. You'll also notice on the right-hand side that that is the Torment icon. So ancestral items can be found starting on Torment 1.
Okay.
They're going to become more frequent as you ascend Torment difficulties,
Suave, what's up?
but they're still going to stay pretty rare throughout all Torment levels. You'll also notice that the greater affix on this item is highlighted. That is because now whenever you find an ancestral item, they're always going to have one greater affix. They can roll with more, but they will be guaranteed a single one every single time. So let's dive in more into the details.
Right about that, right? Hazelin is part of finding a greater affix on live right now. Is sometimes it's on life per second. It's like, oh, okay. Got a greater affix on life per second. But now when you see an ancestral item, it's always going to have a greater affix. And that ancestral eye power bump, the affix bump, is going to feel really good. Even if you miss that affix, it's still a huge upgrade to your character if you've had one of these before.
Well, they keep saying ancestral items, so does that mean like regular legendary ancestral items? Or are they talking about just the uniques? Crimson. I would like some clarification on that. Okay, so regular ancestral. So the legendary ancestrals are now rares. So now those became yellows. So wait, do we not have legendary items anymore? Are legendaries now yellows and ancestrals are ancestrals?
Yeah, and sometimes, right, you get an item that has multiple greater affixes on live, and it's not at 925, it's not at the highest item power, and that's kind of a mixed bag, right? Like, well, it's kind of good, but it's a lower item power, and now things with greater affixes will be definitionally at that highest item power.
Yes.
Okay, let me see what this says.
So let's talk about the details here. So sacred items are not going to drop anymore. They're kaput.
Thank God.
You're going to be looking at normal items pre-torments, and then you're going to be chasing ancestral items once you are in torment tiers.
Okay.
So yeah, starting in Torment 1, they're going to start to drop.
Okay.
As I said, they're going to become more common as you go up, but again, they're going to stay fairly rare. They're never going to, be like the only thing that's dropping.
Significant power is gated behind ancestral items.
Where you're finding forever items. So when you find like a really good ancestral weapon or, of whatever.
Dude, a 50 power jump is insane.
That's going to be a big moment. That's going to be an exciting moment where you're going to get something a lot
So we get
better.
blue. So we get blue and yellows before we get to Torment 1. Okay, that's fine.
Because they also have their own affix band as well. So these ancestral items are going to have better affixes than their non-ancestral counterparts too. Something to note is that greater affixes only drop on ancestral items.
I
You're
like
not gonna
that.
be finding greater affixes on non-ancestrals. So when you
I
see
like
a
that.
greater affix drop on the ground, you're going to know that that is an ancestral item. Ancestral items also have 2 tempering slots, up from 1 on non-ancestrals, and they're masterworkable up to 12, whereas non-ancestrals are masterworkable up to 4.
Okay.
And finally, they are going to have higher aspect ranks too. So you're going to find legendary aspects that become better on ancestral items.
And Charles, we actually added a ton of power to legendary aspects to accommodate this. We didn't just sort of readjust where those power bands are coming from.
Yeah, all of the legendary aspects that now scale a little bit further into the ancestral tier. We basically just tacked on 5 new levels, kind of on.
Okay, so we're going to be finding just normal legendary items. Is that what I'm understanding? Is that we're going to have blue? So we're going to have uncommon and rare, meaning yellow, items, and then we'll have regular legendary items up to Torment 1. Then once we get into Torment 1, we will find ancestral items, which ancestral items will be legend, like our current legendary or unique items. Okay, makes sense.
On top of the current value, so you're just going to find even more powerful.
Yeah, so all gear will
legendary
drop.
effects
Okay,
than
perfect.
you have currently.
That's what I was getting at, and they weren't clarifying that because I'm like, they're showing uniques. So I just wanted to be sure. That I'm completely fine with that. That's perfectly okay.
In the new ancestral tier.
It's going to be a lot of fun to find those.
So then one question is, if the legendary items currently, before we get to World Tier 1, and the rare items, are we going to have the same amount of affixes, or are the legendary items going to currently have one more affix like they do now?
Okay. Whew, let's move on to Paragon.
Yeah, Rodan, yes. I love that, though. That's how it should be. Because that's exactly what the game is currently, and that's why in that like silly, updated tier list video I made is, and that's why like the Barbarian I use as a perfect example. Because right now, currently in Season 5, like I know the dev said that they wanted us to have like 4 mythic / uniques, but to be honest, every build is using like at least 6 or 7. At least. Like we were on pace if they didn't do any changes. We were literally on pace to eventually having like every single build nothing but mythics or like unique items, and not like no more legendaries would exist.
So we have some pretty big glyph updates coming.
Here we go.
With patch 2.0.
Legendary glyphs.
A significant rework to how many ranks you can earn on any given glyph, from 21 to 100, which is a lot of new ranks. But we want to make sure that there's still texture in that system, right? And so because of that, we also have
to swap. Let's go.
a new glyph rarity, legendary. So once you upgrade a glyph to rank 46, it becomes a legendary glyph, which you can see here on the right. This spirit glyph is level 50, so it's past that 46 mark. It's legendary. You're going to get a glyph radius increase at rank 15, which is already in the live game. But you're also going to get another radius increase at rank 46.
Oh my god. Oh, I fear this was coming. They're making our glyphs the abattoir of Zir glyphs. They're giving us the abattoir of Zir glyph. Like they're giving us that.
It becomes legendary. And this is making them bigger than they could have been previously. So you're going to get more space with your glyphs because of this. And when a glyph becomes legendary, it also unlocks a significant bonus, more so than it did before. And you can see that on the bottom of this glyph here. It's got the legendary bonus, increases critical strike damage by 21.6%.
Yeah, I love that it's a significant multiplicative stat bonus. The multiplicative is the key word here. Rax pointed it out, dude. The second growth off the Paragon boards, now it's so wasted. Yeah. Demon says it's like D3 legendary gems. Yeah, I mean, I see the rank ups like that. Like you can rank the glyph up to 100.
And it's very important to note that this is a multiplicative bonus.
Yeah, attempt-based rank upgrades guarantee success if... Dude, it's literally Diablo 3 legendary gems. Literally Diablo 3 legendary gems. Oh my god.
This 21.6% is not an additive bonus. So you're going to be getting a lot of power from that bonus there.
We're playing D3 again.
Something else I want to bring up is that glyphs are moving to the pit. So you're going to be upgrading your glyphs in the pit. You're no longer going to be upgrading them in nightmare dungeons.
So what's the point of nightmare dungeons then? Yo, Chris with the 20, man. I appreciate it, bro.
And it's going to be an attempt-based system. So when you
Thank you
finish
for
your
the
pit
super
run,
chat, man.
You're going to go to the end, and you're going to be able to have some chances to level up your glyph and increase their ranks. And if you are in a pit that is 10 tiers higher than your current glyph,
I appreciate
you're
it,
gonna have
Chris. Thank you,
guaranteed
dude.
Success. And for every 20 pit tiers that you're that the pit level you're in is higher than your current glyph that you're trying to upgrade, you're going to get bonus ranks so that you can accelerate the process. Do you want to speak more to that, Colin?
Well, maxing them out won't take long from what I mean, yes, it does sound like that to get them to 50, but the max level is 100. So you'd have to be completing level 100 pits in order to try to get the glyph to 100. Right? Because they max at 100. Is that correct? So you can try to get them to 100. So it's going to be a low chance if you're doing 100s, but
Yeah, I think this is a really important note because you can
I mean, I like it because I love the legendary gems in Diablo 3, but
easily look at the rank 100 and be like, oh my god, the grind is even longer. But based on how that upgrade
it's literally
chance
the
works,
gems.
It's guaranteed as long as you're beating pit tiers that are higher than your glyph. And then how that bonus math ends up playing out is if you're beating, for example, a pit tier 30, that's roughly somewhere between today's world tier 3 and 4. You can upgrade a glyph from 1 to 15 in 3 runs. So you think about the difference between today's game and patch 2.0, you're getting those glyphs leveled way faster if you're pushing that difficulty. And what we really wanted to do here was
Well, Colin, let me just add to that. If I take a brand new glyph in the current game, 1 to 15, I can do it in 3 runs on a level 100 Nightmare Dungeon. Then it's 3 more level 100 Nightmare Dungeons to take it from 15 to 21. So if I'm doing a pit 30, I have to do 3 pit 30s to get my glyph from 1 to 15. It's not faster. Oh, he's talking about, so as you reach 30? Okay, sure.
We've heard a ton of feedback around how the XP system for Nightmare Dungeons feels really grindy. It also just doesn't serve the Nightmare Dungeons very well, right? It's like, how do I get to the end as fast as possible, but nothing in the dungeon matters, right? And what that does is in the pit, it's all about speed and efficiency, and it sort of embraces that. And we think that that's just really going to accelerate your pit glyph upgrading speed. And
so what are Nightmare Dungeons going to be used for?
I want to be really clear with the chance. The chance-based system is essentially there because it felt really bad when it was binary. Like when we said, hey, you need to beat the pit tier, or you need to beat a pit that's 10 levels higher than your glyph, and if you don't, you get nothing. That just felt really bad. So the chance is not there to increase the grind or slow down progression. It's actually just there to protect from like it feeling just terrible to not get literally anything from that run. So again, to be clear, it's 100% chance as long as you're pushing difficulty. We think that this fits the content a lot better.
Yeah, but Dom, why would I do Nightmare Dungeons when I can do the Infernal Horde? You're not going to do Nightmare Dungeons for those. I can do the Infernal Horde and get all the mats for that.
prefer to.
They're going to change it? Okay, let's
around,
see.
Like the pit rewards feeling lackluster, and there's not really a reason to push difficulty. You know, you sort of just want to hone in on like 90 or 101, depending on where you're at in terms of your progression journey on live. This system really encourages you to push and gives you a tangible reward every single time you do it.
Yeah, and I think it's important that there's the consistency of like the communication between, right? So, hey, my glyphs are currently level 50. Well, what kind of pit tier should I be approaching to upgrade these? Well, somewhere in the range of 50 to 60, right? You know, just a little bit higher so that you can keep pushing that harder content. And also, if you have a glyph down,
Suave with the $10 super chat, bro. Thank you, man.
Glyph, it's going to level up much faster if you are already.
Nightmare Dungeons, yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they say.
Proven yourself, proven that you.
The only way that they can make like Nightmare Dungeons like relevant or the pit relevant is if they change the resources we get and the rewards we get from Infernal Hordes. If they don't do that, then there's no reason to do it.
You can hang in pit tier 50, for instance. You're going to level those up very quickly.
I
appreciate the 10 too, man. Thank you.
Build that you feel isn't doing as well as you go up in Torment. It makes it a lot easier to kind of snap something back in and catch up faster.
But this is literally legendary gems in Diablo 3. Literally the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the further you progress, the easier it is to level those up. So here we have a video
here we go.
just showing off what the new UI looks
I love
like
it.
for
I dig it.
upgrading a glyph in patch 2.0. So you can see that it's showing you the current pit level you're on, the current success chance to get a rank up. And something else I want to call out is that when you are, oh yes, right. So this is rank 45 to 46 explicitly, which is the moment where you are increasing a glyph from rare to legendary. And something important to note about that is that it does cost a fairly significant amount of gem fragments as well, but it's giving you that increased radius size and the new multiplicative legendary bonus, which is pretty sick.
Why do we have to use gems to level these up? Why? Like, this is the stuff I don't understand. That's going to slow us down. You realize that? That's going to slow us down.
Proven.
Looks like for.
I think what's also cool is if you have a build that you feel isn't doing as well as you go up in Torment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the further you progress, the easier it is to.
Let me see what it says
level
again.
those up. So here we have a video basically.
No, it's just there. It's just fragments, guys. You can see it right here. See this? That's just to level this. That's not legendary. Or no. 45 is legendary. No, 47 is legendary. That's turning it into a Lego. Oh, upgrade to legendary. Okay, hold on.
Just showing off what the new UI looks like for upgrading a glyph in patch 2.0.
Okay.
So you can see that
46.
it's showing you the current pit level you're on,
Okay.
the current success chance to get a rank up. And something else I want to call out is that when you are, oh yes, right. So this is rank 45 to 46 explicitly, which is the moment where you are increasing a glyph from rare to legendary. And something important to note about that is that it does cost a fairly significant amount of gem fragments as well, but it's giving you that increased radius size and the new multiplicative legendary bonus, which is pretty sick.
Okay. So it's only gem fragments to turn it into a legendary. Okay. Okay,
and here
we're
we
good.
Have an example of
we're
showing
good.
how the radius
You're going to have way more than 15,000 by the time you get there.
Even bigger in patch 2.0. I want to call out here that the midpoint says level 21. That is not correct. It is level 15 where the radius increases. But yeah, previously there was only one radius increase. Now with legendary glyphs at rank 40.
So wait. We're going to go to 46 and we're going to lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We're losing 16 boxes? Bro,
46, there is a second radius increase. Okay.
Okay.
So
I will say 100% I do not like that. We lose so many boxes. What's the point?
let's talk about some more stuff related to Paragon. We have realm partitioning for Paragon now, and this is kind of
Okay,
getting
here we
into
go.
alting that Colin was talking about. We have realm-based Paragon points
Oh,
now.
thank
So your Paragon
God.
points are going to be shared across an entire.
Dude, this is literally Diablo 3. It's Diablo 3, bro. Because as soon as you hit 70 on Diablo 3, if you have 1,000 Paragon points, you can instantly use them.
Realm. And remember that what a realm is like either seasonal softcore or seasonal hardcore or the
So like once you like get high Paragon, like doing an alternate character is going to be awesome, right? Because as soon as you hit 60, you're going to be real strong.
same for Eternal. Those are realms. And these Paragon points are going to stay latent on a pre-level 60 character. And what that means is that, you know, if you have, let's say,
Yeah, Raze, you have to hit 60 first. So like let's say in Diablo 4 Season 6, you get, like have max Paragon. Like when you make a new character, you have to, it's just like in Diablo 3. As soon as you hit your max character level, then you can use all the Paragon points that you've unlocked from another character.
150 Paragon
It's the same exact way that it works in Diablo 3.
points on a realm, those Paragon points will remain inactive on any character that's pre-level 60. But once you hit level 60 on that character, they will have those 150 Paragon points. And
So
it's also
Paragon
important
is
to note that any
300
Paragon
points?
you earn on any of your characters in that realm are going to be shared among all characters in that realm. So if you earn 25 or 50 Paragon points on one character and then hop over to your alt, you're going to have 25 or 50 more Paragon points to spend on that character too. And in addition to this change,
So you're at 325. Unless they changed Renown, it's 325.
a pretty hefty Paragon level increase. So right now, the current max, besides Renown and Altar of Lilith bonuses, is 200. And we're increasing that up to 300, which is going to give you a lot more levels to chase throughout any given season. Okay, and in light of these changes coming to Paragon, we've made some adjustments to the way that boards work as well. So because we're offering so much more power with legendary glyphs and they mean so much more to your build, you know, we're looking to set a maximum for the number of Paragon boards that you can equip at any given time. And this is also because, you know, on live right now, the best strategy is to aim for as many glyph slots as possible. You just go off. You oftentimes ignore whatever legendary node bonus you're getting just for the glyph slot. And we want to make sure that you're really
because there's no bonus for all the other stuff. Like all the other stuff sucks.
Focusing on these legendary nodes and that you're focusing on these really cool legendary glyphs that you're getting. And really think about those choices instead of gunning for like every single glyph, for example.
This also complements the additional.
Okay, this is the first L of the video. This is the first L, and it's a giant L.
I was just going to say this really helps complement the additional 100 more levels. Like we've heard a lot of feedback that it feels really flat once you hit 100, that there's just no more progression. You don't really need to kill any of the monsters anymore unless it's explicitly to get the loot drop off of them. And that kind of feels bad, right? Like I'm walking through this dungeon and like I get literally nothing out of killing these monsters.
The cap is 5. You get 5 total boards, and that includes your starter board. So you get your starter board plus 4 more boards. That's it. That is it. So at the most, you're going to have 5 glyphs. 5. That's it. There is no more like 7 or 8. You will have 5. 5
monsters. So with the board limit, we've packed a ton of power with additional Paragon levels to grind, a ton of power with the legendary glyphs, but it also creates a situation where once you've achieved all those different things, you don't feel so bad necessarily around not getting to that Paragon level 300. At a certain point, you start to really just sort of really need to hone in on your build, and those extra Paragon points are going to start providing you more of a show of sort of how badass you are, and give you incremental progress that's a little bit less sort of demanding that you must grind through all of this content to unlock every part of your Paragon board.
Yeah, and something I'm pretty excited about this is that, sometimes on live it can feel like my goal is to get a new Paragon board, and as soon as I achieve that, my goal is to get a new Paragon board and get off the one I just unlocked. And I think this change really lets me kind of explore the boards and think about what specific route optimizations I want to take, and it lets me personalize it a little more.
Oh my God, don't make me throw up. Nobody cares. No, these are the 5 new boards. Bro, nobody is like, you know what? I really want to come in here and I want to take all of these. That's what I want. I want 20 more dexterity. Then I want to come over and I want to take all of these too. Bro, nobody is thinking of that bullshit. Not a soul. I'm sorry, but this is a huge L take, bro. Huge L. Nobody cares about that. That is still not going to change. You're going to come into this board and you're going to go, okay, how do I get to this legendary node? How do I get here? And now because this expands 2 more times, how do I fill all this in with the least amount of Paragon or nodes I can take? It's going to be like, come up here, over here, spend 2 here, go up, grab this, go down, grab this, just like this is. Fill all this in, next board. Nobody's going to care, bro. Nobody's like, you know what I would really like to do? I really love this board so much that I just want to take every node on this board. My journey in Diablo 4, I really thought it'd be cool if I could take every single yellow node and just like do it. Like, I just really thought, like, see how much stronger I am if I take every single node on this board? Jesus, man. That's a huge L, bro.
Well, I know.
Huge L.
We just went through a ton of content right here with all
huge
the,
L,
the
dude.
changes that are coming for progression to Paragon to itemization. I know
that is absolute garbage.
It was a lot for people to hear. We will actually have a blog immediately up after the stream.
Dude, that's literally the equivalent of somebody going, you know what I would really like to do with those 10 extra skill points? I would like to unlock all my basic skills so I can use all of them. Because I really want to have the journey of like, using all my basic attack skills in every single build.
That will kind of also explain a little bit more of this to players.
Bro. Oh, oops, wrong thing. Bro, look at these. So think about it. This is what I'm talking about. Even in these new boards, I want you guys to think. So this is level 15, okay? It's going to expand 2 more times. So this is going to go here and here. This is going to go here. It's going to go here and here. Look at, we lose 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 squares. This is going to go over twice. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We lose 17 squares, bro. 17. No, I know DT. What I'm saying is when you level this glyph up to max, this range extends 2 more squares. It's actually 20 or 19. You're losing 19 squares. All these blank squares, there's no power here. You lose 19 squares on these boards. Bro.
That they can actually get a understanding in their own cadence of like what is going to be changing with patch 2.0 for Diablo 4 in regards to some of the progression items. I know, Colin, we're seeing a lot in chat of like
that's terrible.
Are noting like, hey, this feels a little D3ish in ways. I don't
know
if
Adam said it
to chat or like comment on that a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm happy to. It's definitely familiar, right? So we thought a lot about like what is the right way to address the player feedback of we've gotten a bunch of feedback around like World Tier 5, World Tier 6, World Tier 7, right? I want to be able to level up the challenge in the game. I want to be able to get more efficiency. And we wanted to do it in a way that was leaning into what we saw you all were really resonating with, which is getting to the end game faster. And we felt like, okay, well, we could add a World Tier 5 and add Ancestral, Uber Ancestral, and increase the level cap. But that would mean you would just need to grind more to get to that point where you're finding your forever items, doing item modification.
Ray said Adam in this breakdown.
World Tier 6, Uber Ancestral, right? And it just sort of made us reevaluate what is important. And it's what's important to us is getting people into the end game, getting people finding their forever items, smashing monsters, getting more powerful sort of item modification and efficiency. So that was part of it. And then the other part of it, I'd say, is I don't
think Dom, it was to prevent us that are blasters. I think one big issue is because we don't get to see the numbers, even though they've already said how high it is. I think a big reason for this change, one big part is, like he said, to get players to the end game, because like 70% of players aren't there. That's one big issue in Diablo 4 in its current iteration. Is 70% of all players across PC and console, they're not level 100, they're not in World Tier 4, they're not in the end game.
I think Diablo 4 more
60%. Thank you, Raze, for the correction.
Diablo has had a ton of item customization and power along the leveling journey, which
so we get punished because of that. It's not necessarily a punishment. Trust me, man. If you've played a lot of Diablo 3 like I have, when you reach level 70 in Diablo 3 and then you're in Torment 6, and when you start getting better and better gear and you're going up in the Torments, you get there. We will get there just as fast. This is just going to speed up the more casual player base.
Which really makes the leveling progression feel different, right? Like if you're tempering, if you're imbuing aspects, if you're really min-maxing your reward scheme, you can really push difficulty tiers early. If you've played D3, hard is really the only real difficulty, right? But because we have so many different ways to grow your power, we think that represents a pretty fun challenge of like, how do I take all these pieces and really push as early as I can to get to that max level faster? And one more thing that's really important to note is the jumps between torments are pretty enormous. We don't expect you to sort of play it like today's D3, where you essentially log in, get your Hadrig set, and hop right into Torment 16. The jumps are actually pretty enormous between Torment 1 and 2, and it creates this really fun like progression through those Torment tiers, and it feels like a meaningful step forward when you get into Torment 2 and then a Torment 3.
I think it's going to feel great. I think it's going to feel good.
We're hoping this doesn't necessarily feel like a 2-hour sort of journey through the Torment tiers, and then now you're in Torment 4, and that's how you play the rest of the game.
Yeah, awesome. And also one thing I'll add is,
Orlando, what's up, dude?
To Twitch chat, everything that you say, hey, you like what we're doing, big dub. We appreciate it. Much love for the response. Also, all the people in Twitch chat who are like, I don't like this. This isn't working for me. Much appreciation the same. We're looking at what you're saying, we're thinking about it, and we're going to try to incorporate it and make the game better. And I think it's interesting I'm seeing the sort of Diablo 3 references, and it's like, From our perspective, if something really worked well in Diablo 3,
And remember what I said at the beginning of this, guys? Didn't I say that there were systems in Diablo 3 that would work well in Diablo 4? They literally took some of the best ones. They literally, we're going to make a video about this in my recap here, but they literally, wrong thing. They literally took the scaling aspect. This works very well in Diablo 3. This works great in Diablo 3. It really does. Okay? The leveling up of gems for your glyphs, like the leveling up of glyphs, which is the equivalent of leveling up legendary gems, the legendary gems are fantastic in Diablo 3 because they really scale your character. So that's a big dub, right? Like these are good changes, right? So like those things are fantastic. You know what I mean? Like those things are very good.
that's more important to us to like do the thing that the players felt like was working for them than anything else, right? The fact that we've done it before in any form, to me, wouldn't stop us from doing the right thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I
just
think
doing it
that,
the right way.
It's also like it's not a bash to the devs. It's not a bash. But you know, when you try new systems and they just don't work, they just don't work. You know, if they don't work, they don't work. You know, the player base resonates with it. You know, like they're gonna say that this is trash. You know, like for example, the PvP system. For example, the gauntlet. Like nobody, like these systems just don't work. They just don't. So, DT, they didn't say. He's just an expert game designer.
yeah,
I just said do it the right way for D4.
Only new systems in D4 were Hell Tides and PvP and Nightmare Dungeons. That's it. Yeah, I mean, the Hell Tides is probably the most, like, if I'm thinking about what's different, like the Hell Tides are probably the most successful system from Diablo 4. Hell Tides are great. I love Hell Tides. I think Hell Tides are fantastic. I know they don't get played a lot, but I do love the Strongholds. I think the Strongholds are great. It's just there's no reason to do them. You know what I mean? There's just no reason to do them. So, but I do love the Strongholds. I think those are very cool. I just wish there was more to it. You know what I mean? I am gonna do the Paragon board, and what we can do is I'm gonna like take the picture and then add the boxes around it. Because like that, it's a scary thing to think that we're going to lose that many boxes. Now, obviously, you know, stuff can still change, but it's scary to think about like we're going to lose that many boxes, especially when we're limited to 5 and we have all these extra points.
Yeah, doing everything remote. It feels like we're like it's like a Zoom call, but interrupting each other.
Ooh, Orlando, I like
also,
that.
Big shout out to Twitch chat for calling out Jeevan's cord management. I've seen that message a few times already. But so thanks, Aislinn. Thank you, Colin. I know.
So tempering is a system that we introduced back in Season of Loot Reborn, Season 4, that gave you a way to really customize your items and kind of make your build your own. And we've received a lot of feedback on the tempering system, and we're really committed to iterating on and making sure that this system is the best it can possibly be going forward. One of the key points of feedback that we heard was around weapon tempers. So these affixes that you get to attach to your weapons, right? Your weapons are your big, important part of your build and your character. And there was a big disparity here, where some affixes that were on weapon tempering were multiplicatively increasing your player power, right? Things like double projectiles or things of that nature, or bash cleaving, which was a multiplicative bonus. And others, not so much, right? You had some other ones that were more duration or size effect, and they just were hard to compare against each other. And so going forward in patch 2.0, we've made all weapon tempering affixes multiplicative damage increases, oftentimes to very specific skills. And to accommodate this, you know, we already have one bonus projectiles, and now we're going to have new affixes that give skills chance to deal double damage, which means if triggers the chance to deal double damage, the entire skill is just going to do twice as much damage as before. Every hit of it will deal double damage. It's kind of an all or nothing kind of deal. And then the chance to hit twice is the chance for any time it deals damage, you just get an extra hit of damage. And this allows you to trigger things like lucky hit procs or anything that counts the number of times you deal damage.
Okay.
That's going to trigger an extra time.
That's
to hit
cool.
Twice.
I like that.
Offensive tempering affixes, these are the ones that can also go on your weapons, but can go on other spots as well. These are going to be additive damage increases. And these will often be to broader categories like bonus fire damage or bonus critical strike damage. And whereas the weapon temperers are often talking to more specific skills. And so here we can see an example with the Shadow Augment's Execution, where we have the Sever projectiles chance to cast twice, but now we've got new ones that are chance for Reap to hit twice. So you cast Reap, and every target you hit, there's just a chance to get 2 hits on that target instead of 1. And Corpse Explosion, whenever you cast Corpse Explosion, there is a chance for the entire skill to deal double damage to every target that it hits.
I mean, that's nice.
Additionally, we've moved those size and duration affixes, which we think are really cool and really interesting ways of modifying your skills. We've moved those over to the utility category. So they're not directly competing with these multiplicative damage.
Yeah, that's so good, because I was just about to say, I'm like, nobody's going to take these if they're locked on weapon ones. They're ever. Nobody's ever going to take that when I can get a chance to deal double damage, ever.
You're not going to feel bad that, oh, I'm missing out on damage just to, make my area hit a little bit larger or to have a longer duration on a buff.
Yeah,
so there's not as much opportunity cost to investing in those size and duration affixes, which are still really cool ways to customize your character. We just don't want them to compete with damage. And finally, we know that oftentimes tempering leads itself to, hey, I see this list of 5 or even 6 affixes sometimes. We really are going to try to be limiting tempering recipes to at most 4 affixes that can possibly roll on them, just to give you a little bit better odds of actually hitting the one that you care about than the one that you want, and just be a little bit easier to kind of comprehend. And even so, we're trying to set this limit at 4, but oftentimes we're aiming for just 3 on the recipe, depending on how the grouping them together in ways that make sense. So this is an active area that we're working on, really trying to make sure that it's not.
I like
quite,
this.
It's easier for you to get the right affix out of the tempering recipe by limiting that.
This is good changes. I like all this.
The number that are on there. All right, next up, we've got changes to ultimate skills. So ultimate skills can now gain skill ranks. This is probably pretty self-explanatory, but just like every other skill in the game, ultimate skills can now be ranked up to rank 5 in the skill tree. And just like every other skill, increasing the skill ranks will increase the damage output of your ultimate skills.
Well, Rolando, it's not a straight 33% chance. So as we know, so like let's say this is the temper. So even though there's 3 of them, there's the hidden weight. Okay, it's called weight. And it's the either the higher or the lower chance for that to appear in the roll. So, for example, if I was to guess, Corpse Explosion to deal double damage would be the lowest weight out of 100. So I would assume that Sever would be the highest weighted, Reap would be the next highest weighted, and then Corpse Explosion would be the lowest weighted. So even though there's 3, you would probably get the Reap one or the Sever one more times than you would get the Corpse Explosion, because that's just how RNG works, even though there's only 3. Yeah, but because there's 3, even though there's going to be weights, it should give you a much, Jaswabi has a good example there. Like if Sever's 50, then this is 35, and then this is 15. So you still have a very, very good chance to get this, as opposed to like if there was like 6 of these on here. So it is better. It is better.
Will increase the damage output of your ultimate skills, but it's also going to give you cooldown reduction on these ultimate skills as well. So oftentimes other skills you just kind of get one or the other, right? Sometimes it's a cooldown reduction, sometimes it's a damage or healing increase. On ultimate skills, you're going to get kind of the best of both worlds. It's going to be increasing the damage output and reducing the cooldown. And finally, effects that do grant bonus skill ranks on this, such as Harlequin's Crest, the Shaco, that gives + to all skill ranks. These are only going to apply to ultimate skills that you've.
Well, Crimson, you're right. This is where like those extra 10 points will come in. You'll have those 10 extra points, and you're like, you know what? I really use Lacerate a lot, so let me go ahead and rank it up.
Already learned in the skill tree, and this is to make sure that you still can only equip.
Shaco does work with ultimates. Because all ultimates can gain skill ranks, so Shaco does work with it.
One ultimate skill, you can't like get plus ranks to all skills and then suddenly have access to 4 ultimate skills. We still don't want that. We still want you to just pick one, but you're just going to be getting you're going to be able to really juice that ultimate skill up. If you really want to make lacerate be really strong, that's going to be a powerful effect that you can invest more skill points into. All right, so those are some of the general updates. Let's now talk about the new content coming for each individual class, starting here with our Barbarian. All right, so sometimes you're playing as a Barbarian and you experience a problem, right? You are standing here and there is an enemy over there. What to do? Well, a good Barbarian is going to throw their weapon at the enemy over there to kill them at a distance. Right, so now we've got a new skill called Mighty Throw.
That's so
It's
funny.
going to hurl your weapon at an enemy. It's going to deal damage on impact, and then it's going to stick in the ground and do some pulses of damage over time. So even if the initial impact doesn't kill them, there's going to be some extra pulses there. Additionally, we've got some upgrades for it, just like our other skills. Enhanced Mighty Throw is going to increase your attack speed while the weapon is out. And then you can either opt in a Fighter's Mighty Throw, which is going to give bonuses to that pulsing damage. It causes your weapon swaps to pulse for more and give you a bit of barrier. Or you can opt into Mighty. Yeah, it looks sweet too. It's kind of like bluish yellow, like ancient-y kind of color scheme to it. The VFX looks awesome.
I will say I hate how long that throw takes, but yeah.
So ranged barb is definitely happening in patch 2.0.
For sure. If you want to spec really heavily into this, yeah, you're going to be throwing weapons out like crazy. All right, so we've also got some new key passives and new legendary Paragon nodes for every class here. So for Barbarian, we've got Barbed Carapace. This is it's a key passive, so it's going to increase your thorns based on how much fury you're spending. And whenever you cast a skill with a cooldown, it's going to grant you unhindered for a duration, which allows you to move through enemies. And then enemies that are close to you are going to take or going to take damage from your thorns every second. You're going to kind of pulse damage of your thorns every second.
That's cool.
So this is really cool. It really enables Thorns Barb, which we had a little bit of support for. But one of the big problems of Thorns is that you really wanted enemies to hit you and hit you quickly. And this gives you another alternative to deal
the legendary node is pretty cool
to really pay off for building up all that thorns with this new key passive. Additionally, we've got a legendary Paragon node, the Force of Nature. Your earthquakes have a chance to spawn dust.
I'm going to try to, since they're just basically reading these, I'm just going to try to go through them, guys.
Dust devils and your earthquake damage working, all of your damage is converted into fire damage.
Ugly bastard helm.
And so that's really interesting. Barb always had this little bit of like light fire theme. You had a few different effects that dealt fire damage. And now if you really want to play a fire Barb, this is the unique helm for you. Also playing into that, we've got Aspect of Flaming Rampage, which causes your charge to deal some fire damage. And Aspect of Shuddering Steel, which will cause your Steel Grasp and Iron Maelstrom to do some bonus physical damage.
This is cool.
All right.
Ooh,
moving on to the Druid.
DT,
the
here
Druid
we go.
Gets a new skill, a new core skill, in fact, called Stone Burst. And this is a core skill that's channeled. It kind of has a very unique kind of input mechanism compared to pretty much any other skill in Diablo 4. And as you're channeling it, you target an area, and as you channel it, the affected area grows in size over about 1 second.
We all want a fire barb.
And at any point, you can release the channel, and it's going to deal a big burst of damage to whatever size you kind of landed on there. You could tap it really quickly and just do 1 pulse of damage to a small area, or you can channel up for a little bit longer and hit a much wider area, depending on the exact combat scenario you find yourself in, or how the enemies are distributed on the battlefield here. Of course, we've got our upgrades that increase damage to the enemies hit in the initial radius, different levels like small, medium, and large. In this one, the Druid kind of held it for a while, but you could release it at any time. And so here you see just kind of rapid firing a lot of quick, small shots just because they knew that would be enough to clear out the enemies here. And also while you're channeling it, does some pulses of damage to enemies in that area as well.
The channel explosion is so satisfying to blow up just so many monsters.
Yeah, it gets huge,
really feels
and
amazing.
It looks so sweet too. I really hats off to the VFX artists who worked on making these look so beautiful. The new skills here. All right, so of course
I'm not a
also
fan of
has
that.
New passives, a new key passive called One with Nature that really empowers companion builds. You know, we've heard a lot that players love playing with companions. They're wolves, they're poison creepers, they're ravens, and this is going to be the key passive for you. So all of your companion skills gain an additional companion, and they deal increased damage. And there's also a little bonus, basically, with you gain the passive effect of all of the companion skills. Now, if you're taking this key passive, you're probably
that
taking
One with
these
Nature's
companions anyway, but
really
just in
good.
case, you know, your build is such that, well, I just want to take, you know, 2 out of the 3, right? I can put wolves and poison creeper on my bar, but you know, maybe you don't have enough skill slots to put in ravens. You're still going to be able to get the passive effect of that.
Yeah,
until you
exactly,
take this key
Crimson.
passive, because we just want you to have tons of these companions, really leading the charge here. We've also got Untamed, a new legendary Paragon node that plays right into this One with Nature key passive. Casting the companion skill is going to increase the companion active skill, will grant you bonus ranks to all of your companion skills for a time to really buff up the really leading a wolf pack here, right? So this includes wolves with the Storm's Companion to turn them into lightning werewolves. And I'm sure there's some other ones here, like aspect of the Stampede is probably involved. You just have, what is that, 7 wolves following you around? You really get to lead the wolf pack with this.
This is the best video in our presentation. Well, actually, no, sorry. This is the second best video in our presentation. You guys will see the best video in our presentation, but yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, for all you werewolf lovers out there, this one is going to be really sweet. I'm really looking forward to playing with this in patch 2.0. All right, so new items. So they've got the Stone of Vehemen. This is a unique totem that's going to empower...
DT, that's exact. You guys could tell from my facial expression. That's exactly what I was thinking. All I saw was like Necro with useless minions. That's all I saw. I was just like, yeah, their AI on those wolves are gonna be about as good as the minions, and it's gonna be way weaker. But you never know. We'll see.
Or your Stone Burst, the new core skill. So channeling it is going to grant you some damage reduction, and the final explosion will deal increased damage based on how long you were channeling it. So this just really encourages you to build it up to that max size and let off a huge explosion. And gives you some damage reduction, so you're kind of standing still for a bit. That's okay. You get a bit of damage reduction.
Guys, make sure to like the stream.
We've got a little bit more legendaries on Druid than the other classes, just because Stone Burst being a core skill.
Yeah.
We know that
DT, I feel for you, bro. Aspect of the Agile wolf. Shred gains a 4th attack and hits all surrounding enemies, dealing increased damage and knocks down enemies. That actually might be pretty good.
The kind of bar to make a core skill. Crow, which is just lightning raven, taking out the souls.
All right, here we go. Let's check out Necro.
Who you're hitting. And every time it sucks out a soul from an enemy, you're going to gain some essence, and you're going to gain a barrier. So you can stack up this barrier. It helps you be survivable, and it deals, you know, really good damage over time.
Okay.
Supreme Soul Rift gives you bonus damage for every soul that you absorb.
Another way to give yourself defenses.
Whoa.
Necro has historically had some trouble with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really important part here.
That's cool, actually.
When we get to the next slide, talk about some of the passives, I'll highlight. We're adding a bit more barrier into the Necromancer's kit.
Well, wait. Why doesn't the Necromancer have to stand still and channel all those souls? Why does the Necromancer get to attack while also draining the souls of its enemies? That's weird.
You know, Blood Necromancers always had a really easy time surviving. They had a lot of Fortify and a lot of max health. And really, the other ones, like the Bone and Shadow Necro, didn't have quite as much survivability. And so now we're introducing more barrier in more places to ensure that kind of non-blood Necromancer.
It's cool, though.
The Shadow and the Bone and Summon Necros.
I like it.
Have a bit more survivability and are able to scale into that late game pretty well.
I like it.
All right, so as I mentioned, the new passive. So they have a new key passive called Affliction that...
Macro Boy almost creamed his pants seeing this new skill.
There's this new concept of Affliction where applying vulnerable, crowd control, or shadow damage over time effects to enemies will apply them with Affliction, which is going to make them take increased damage from you and your minions. Additionally, when you apply a curse
this is cool
to someone or to an enemy who has this affliction.
Okay, I don't mind that.
It feels great.
Yeah.
Yeah, for all of us who just want to win by debuff spamming,
skill. Of course, you gain some skill ranks to Soul Rift.
The
because now ultimate
Unmaker.
skills have skill ranks. And every 30 essence that you spend while Soul Rift is active will increase its duration up to 8 seconds. So as long as you're active and kind of spending the essence with the Unmaker, you're going to have a very long duration of Soul Rift. And then for every essence that you gain while it's active, which absorbing the souls does trigger.
Ooh, I
essence
like
gain,
this.
You're going to do a pulse of damage around you, some bonus damage, and so it really encourages you to just keep Soul Rift up.
I can see that Soul Rift could probably be up for a long time.
All the time, be constantly gaining and spending the essence, and it's going to be really spirits to seek out nearby enemies as well. So it kind of gives you increased area of effect, and if there's just one target, of course, it'll reconverge back
That's
on
cool.
that same target as well, but also just adds a bit more AoE capability
That's cool.
for your Bone Spirit build. Very cool.
What? Oh yeah. Are we getting God DH? 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 Is this you guys better not be messing with me right now. Is this God DH? Is this God DH? Is this God mother? Is this God mother in DH? Okay.
All right. So Rogue. Rogue gets Dance of Knives. This is a new channeled skill for Rogue. It's an agility cutthroat skill. And it also has a pretty interesting mechanic where it has some charges that will recharge, and how long you can channel it is based on how many charges you have. It's going to take 1 charge per second of channeling, but there's no energy cost or just like a normal cooldown. Here you can just channel it as long as you have charges. And while you're channeling, you're going to be spinning around. You're going to be throwing knives at enemies nearby, and you're going to gain some movement speed and dodge chance. Really is kind of like a spin to win kind of build on Rogue here. You got Enhanced Dance of Knives, which gives you some charge refund as you're moving with it, because that's what we really want to encourage, is this constant motion, this forward momentum. And Methodical Dance of Knives drops some stun grenades when you finish channeling, or Disciplined Dance of Knives will slow enemies and has a chance to pierce through the enemies that you're throwing the daggers at. Let's take a look at this in action. So here we got the Rogue just going spinning, throwing some daggers around at everyone, and yeah.
This is awesome for speed farming. This is like the best speed farming skill.
And that animation is
it's
just amazing.
Absolutely. And you can see there at the end they had the upgrade that drops a bunch of stun grenades at the end. Obviously, enemies were all dead. But,
oh
you
my
use this
God.
a big cluster of enemies, then you stop the channel, you drop some stun grenades, reset some of your charges, and you're good to start spinning again. Ton of fun.
Yeah, those are perfect for like you run into an elite pack after slaughtering a bunch of normals and it just annihilates the elites. It feels amazing.
Yeah. All right, so we've got new passives as well. New key passive is Alchemical Admixture, and this is empowering your non-physical damage. So rogues can do poison, shadow, and cold through their various imbuements. And when you deal
Chris said Rogue is my first screw barb.
The potency of your imbuement skills is going to be dramatically increased for a time. And the more bonus damage that you build on your gear for bonus.
Wait, hold up.
Okay.
So let's go back. So Dance of Knives, channel to launch knives, consuming 1 charge per second, and each knife dealing increased damage. You gain movement speed and dodge chance. So you start with 6 charges on Dance of Knives, and this is an agility skill. So I'm assuming it's a core skill. So how do we increase the charges? So every 30 meters you travel while channeling Dance of Knives grants 4 charges. Oh my God. $30 meters is not that far, guys. 30 meters is not far. Once you buff it, you'll throw more knives. Yeah. The methodical dance of knives, I'm not a fan of. When you stop channeling, you drop. And then the channel duration determines how many are dropped. Like, that's cool. But I think each dance of knives slows enemies and has the chance to pierce. Like, this will probably be unanimously the one that's taken. Because if you're, like, speed farming, you just want the knives to just destroy everything. So piercing would be so good. Oh, my God, bro.
So here we got the rogue just going spinning, throwing some daggers around at everyone, and yeah.
This is awesome for speed farming. This is like the
Oh, my God. Damn you, developers of Diablo 4. Damn you. They did buff the hell out. Well, so hold on. They increased some of the numbers to grenades. However, last season the numbers weren't working. This season they are. So grenades still wouldn't be a bad idea. Still wouldn't be a bad idea. But if the idea is to constantly be spinning, then you don't want grenades. You probably want knives to pierce. But then again, you could think about this as like Whirlwind Barbarian, where like you hold it to channel, you roll up on some mobs, you stop, drop the grenades, and then you start channeling again. Like, so you're like stuttering through, you like hold, channel, stop, rechannel, channel. You know what I mean? Oh my
best speed
God.
farming
Yeah.
skill.
And that animation
Yeah,
is just amazing.
Absolutely. And you can see there at the end they had the upgrade that drops a bunch of stun grenades at the end. Obviously, enemies were all dead, but you know, if you use this to get into a big cluster of enemies, then you stop theme and really supporting a build of rogue.
Bro. I wanted to go Spiritborn for content next season. I don't know if I can do that now. I don't know if I can do Spiritborn first. I don't know if I can do Spiritborn first now. Oh my God.
That we've kind of had in the game, but really wanted to give that robust support of a key passive for. And also we've got a legendary Paragon node, the Dance Macabre, which encourages this kind of 1-2 combo of casting mobility or subterfuge skill, increases the damage of your next skill, whatever it might be, by quite a substantial
Subterfuge.
amount. So you can, you know, cast your dash and then, you know, position yourself, cast a big rain of arrows, and it hits very hard. Very cool, and actually impacts your moment-to-moment rotation as well. And of course, we've got the new skill tree passives as well. All right, new items. We've got the Pit Fighter's Gall. This is the ancestral unique ring. Or sorry, just it's a unique ring. It's not necessarily, you can find it before ancestral tier. And this Pit Fighter's Gall will empower your smoke grenade. So your smoke grenade skill will increase your critical strike damage and then leave a cloud of shadows behind. And while you're within that cloud of shadows, you're going to be constantly regaining stealth. And so there's a lot of interesting ways you can play off
Splintering
of,
Shards
going
looks awesome.
into or out of stealth.
Wait.
And Pit Fighter's Gall.
Knives from Dance of Knives have a chance to shatter, sending 6 shards of metal away from the target, dealing damage to the target and enemies they hit. Dance of Knives now increases channel duration based on combo points spent. What the fuck? What the Bro. Is this a key passive? What is this? This is a legendary power? Yeah, it's an aspect. This is a legendary power. Ah! What the What the? I don't know if I can do Spiritborn. I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. I know Adam Jackson didn't give me multi-shot, but by God, he's giving me God DH. He's giving me God DH.
It's over 9,000!
I mean, oh my God. Bro. LMG, DH is the Demon Hunter from Diablo 3. And there's a class set called Gear of the Dreadlands. And it is the rogue of Diablo 3, and it's a spin to win, but you're shooting arrows instead of shooting knives. And it's my second favorite build in all of Diablo 3. Let me just check something, guys, real quick. Just check something. Let me just check something real quick. Okay, give me a second. Let me just gonna count something real quick. Okay. I think we're all right. Oh my God, bro.
Is just going to really enable that.
Good Lord.
We've got an aspect of
Give me a
Star
second, guys.
Stars,
I got to change my
which is a new
pants. One
legendary
sec.
Directly support Dance of Knives, and the daggers from Dance of Knives have a chance to shatter, dealing more shards of metal that deal bonus damage. And you can now use combo points on Dance of Knives to further increase the channel duration if you've opted into the combo points specialization.
Bro, this paired with the current power where all of your stuff is cold imbued, you are going to be able to freeze everything and just shatter everything.
Aspect of Poisonous Clouds plays well with Pit Fighter's Gull. When you gain stealth, you create a cloud of poison damage. And aspect of Splintering Shards, there's just a chance whenever you're hitting a frozen enemy to create some ice spikes. So if you're freezing enemies because you're playing Alchemical Admixture and using Cold Imbue, Splintering Shards might be a good aspect for you as well. All right, moving on to the sword.
Guys, I might be starting Rogue. I might be starting Rogue. I might be starting Rogue. I got to go grab that clip because that was amazing. Yeah. I might be starting Rogue. I might be starting Rogue. Oh my God, bro.
So here we got the Rogue just going spinning, throwing some
Would be so good. Oh my God, bro. You just want the knives to just destroy everything, so piercing would be so good. Guys, you said this is where the pain begins? Oh my God. You're like speed farming, you just want the knives to just destroy everything, so piercing would be so good. Oh my, bro. You said this is where the disappointment, you'll see. Dude, at this point, guys, I think I'm done with Sorceress. Sorceress is just not going to be anywhere. I think I said this way back, is if they gave my Rogue multi-shot or if they gave me a build where I could be a Rogue main, then I would. And I think we just got it. I think we just got it. I really do. This is going to be nuts. Oh my God, it's going to be so good. developers of Diablo 4. Damn you.
You guys hear me? Damn you.
They did buff the hell out. Well, so hold on. They increased some of the numbers to grenades. However, we're like,
I got to get everything. I'm going to have to edit it in my software, but yeah.
Enemies were all dead, but you know, if you use this
I don't know if I can do that now.
kind of 1-2 combo of casting mobility or subterfuge, your skull will empower your smoke grenade. So your smoke grenades
Raise with the $5, dude. Wore that new rogue ring with the new mythic chest. Look at him in. Okay, I'll check it out. Appreciate the 5 too, brother.
What the fuck?
I'm going to have to edit this. You guys are going to love this after I post this clip, but
What the? What the?
oh my god.
Oh, I don't know if I can do. I mean, oh my god. And God, bro.
skull is just going to really enable that.
Good lord.
We've got an aspect of
Give me a
Star
second, guys. I
Guards,
gotta change my
which is
pants. One
legendary
sec.
to directly
All right, cool. I got it. Let's just go ahead and I'm going to have to edit it in my software, but we got it. Okay, let's go. Include that high pitch, my dude.
Sorceress.
All right,
The
here we go.
Sorceress gets a new conjuration skill called the
Let's all hear the
Familiar.
disappointment.
This is a conjuration skill that is all 3 elements. It is a shock skill, a pyromancy skill, and a frost skill. So there's 3 charges of it, so you can cast it, back to back, and you summon a familiar of the element.
Oh, it's
of
in
your
there,
last
Rolando. I got
skill
it.
Cast. So if you just cast a pyromancy skill, you're going to summon a fire familiar. If you just cast a lightning skill, you'll summon a lightning familiar, and same with a cold, you'll summon a cold familiar. And with the enhanced effect, these familiars will do a bonus effect. So the fire familiar will constantly apply some burning to enemies that it's around, the cold familiar will chill, and lightning familiar will stun. And of course, their damage type is going to be based on what type they are, so that it'll benefit from all of your bonus fire damage.
And that aura,
Let's take
Charles, is really great, right? To tap
What?
into some of the passives on the sorcerer.
Crimson.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's a lot of passive that say, hey, you get bonuses against burning enemies, for instance. Now, if you have the fire familiar, that's going to really easily be able to apply that constantly, and you're going to have pretty high uptime on having familiars out because of the way the charge and duration works. Let's take a look at this in action. All right, so initially we cast a frost familiar here, right? It's jumping around and it's landing, it's dealing frost damage. Then we cast a fire skill. Now we get a fire familiar jumping around and kind of dive bombing on enemies. And then finally we get a shock familiar, a lightning familiar here that's going to deal lightning damage. So you can kind of mix and match these depending on what skills you use, what combination you cast them in. And it's really flexible. It fits into a lot of different builds. Even if you're just a pure, say, fire sword, and you just want to do fire damage, you just want to do burning, this could still fit because you're just going to be able to summon the fire familiar. But it really reaches its maximum potential as you're kind of mix and matching these to suit the situation and apply the debuffs that you want onto the enemies.
You can have quite a few of these out. For the Sega demonstration, I think we only have a couple of them out on screen, but I think you can have up to 6, right?
Yeah, you can have up to 6, and that would make a lot more sense once we get to talk about some of the unique items that are coming with this patch. But first, let's talk about the new passives, and we've got Enlightenment. This really also plays into the concept of mixing and matching the elements.
All right. I don't like that. Rolando with the membership. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Andy started the train, guys. You guys see the train? Oh, that's so cool. Well, I will say the familiars on the surface don't look great. They don't look great at all. They don't look good. This does not look good. Maybe it could be, maybe like this paired with like the the amulet, right, with Frozen Orb, this might be okay. But on the surface, it looks terrible. However, the Enlightenment thing looks fantastic. Dude, we got our very first membership train going down low. That's so cool. I'm glad you guys got to do it while it's on there. I wanted to see it. That's awesome. Casting a skill grants 1 stack of Enlightenment, or 3 if you cast a previous, which was a different element. And then after getting 100, you lose 5 stacks. But while you have 25% increased damage, 45% increased mana regen, and 20% attack speed. That is actually pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that.
Colors on there. Casting a skill grants a stack of Enlightenment, or 3 stacks if your skill was a different
Enlightenment's
element
pretty
to the one
good.
before. So you're
This might be the best key passive that the sorceress has. 100%.
alternating here. And whenever you gain max stacks, you're going to become enlightened, and you get a ton of bonuses for being in this enlightened
Yeah, I
state.
like this.
But then it drops off over time.
Barrier's nice.
It's really a
Evocation for
reward
cooldown.
mixing
That's
and matching
actually
those
good.
elements, more so than any other key passive we've had on Sorc before. And similarly with the legendary Paragon node fundamental release,
Hey, there's some good stuff here.
Cold attack you make against enemy as much, but
All right, let's see. So you got the bindings here. This is familiar stuff. Casting a familiar now summons all 3 elemental variants at once. Ah, here we go. So now it might be better. Chris, with the gifted, dude. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. So this now makes it pretty dang good. Familiar's duration is increased and its cooldown is reduced, but its maximum charges are reduced by 1. So instead of 6 familiars, you get 5. So, but that's very good that you just cast it. So basically casting it twice will give you all of them. So this is not bad. Incinerate, I love seeing this. This is a nice boost. Charged Flash. After Charge Bolts hits enemies 50 times, your next 3 casts of Charge Bolts becomes waves that pierce. Ooh. Okay. Casting matching elemental dagger around you that pierces through enemies. Oh, so this is like a bone storm. Oh, okay. That's kind of neat.
Button once or twice, and then you get.
Yo, Chris with the gifted, man. I thank you, dude. Keeping the train going, man. I love it.
For quite a long time with this unique glove. So it's going to be really, really powerful too. If you're all about this conjuration build, all about amping up the power of the familiar, it's an awesome unique for that. Additionally, we've got new legendaries for the aspect of overheating. After channeling Incinerate for
new mythics, let's see.
Shroud of False.
Let's see what do we got. Brand new mythics. Shroud of False Death. +1 to all passives. Okay. All stat max life. Damage on next attack after entering stealth. Resource regen. If you haven't attacked in the last 2 seconds, gain stealth and 40% move speed. If I haven't attacked in the last 2 seconds. That could be really good. It could be good. I don't know about that, though. Because why wouldn't you attack? I mean, unless you have a huge... I mean, you're getting crazy damage. But you don't have to use this power to enter stealth. I don't know. This one's iffy. With the new rogue ring, you'd be perma-stealth. Casting smoke grenade increases your damage and leaves behind a cloud of shadows. While within the cloud, you gain stealth. Oh! You gain stealth once per second. So then, yeah, so this would give you 40% movement speed plus the increased damage on. That could be good. That could be good. Okay, so we might have something here. We might have something here. Okay. All right, now the helmet, the Heir of Perdition. Increased damage to angels and demons. Interesting choice. Chris Strike chance, lucky hit, move speed, and core skills. Give in to hatred and earn Lilith's favor, increasing your damage dealt by 60% multiplicative. Slaughter enemies to briefly steal her favor from nearby allies. Wait, what? So if we're in a full party and everybody's using this helmet, do we all steal it from each other? They explain the helmet? Okay.
In the last
Let me
2
listen.
seconds,
Let me listen.
you're going to gain stealth and bonus movement speed.
But
Now,
Rage,
stealth
you're right, dude.
historically has
This
just been a
with that
mechanic
ring could
that
be
has been
pretty
on
good.
rogues and a little bit on druids with the werewolf builds. But now every class, if you get this mythic unique, is going to have some access to stealth. You can, drop out of combat for a little bit, and then you get into stealth, and you get tons of movement speed to, maybe move on to the next pack or move somewhere else in the dungeon.
And it's a really simple line, all passives, but it's literally all passives, which is insane. Like it's incredibly powerful.
Absolutely.
Okay, sarcastic.
And we've also got the Heir of Perdition, a mythic unique helm. And this one has an interesting effect. So it says, give into hatred and earn Lilith's favor, increasing your damage dealt by 60%. So just baseline, this is a huge damage bonus. And the second line here says, slaughtering enemies to briefly steal Lilith's favor from, or slaughter enemies to briefly steal Lilith's favor from nearby allies. So this means if you're playing in a group with, somebody else who happens to have the Heir of Perdition equipped, you are able to steal Lilith's favor from them. Lilith will only favor one of you, and you actually gain double the bonus of this, right? If you steal someone else's favor, you get 120% bonus damage, and they would get 0. But if you're just playing this solo,
Crimson with the gifted, thank you, man.
Flat 60% bonus damage, which is still a ton and very impactful for a mythic unique.
So, if we're in a party of 4 and we all have the helmet on and I steal it from my 3 teammates, that means I'm getting 60 times 4. So I'm getting 240% increased damage multiplicative. That's crazy. Wow.
All right, I believe that is actually everything. Wow, that is much new class content, new skills, new legendaries, new.
Do some whispers. When you press T, you go right.
All right, let's see the quality of life. Players now can select their preferred town portal. This is fantastic. So now you can, I always want to go to Kmart. So I select Kmart and I can go to Kmart. Fantastic. Dungeon key inventory tab for things like nightmare sigils.
Next one here is we've done a pretty substantial rework of Monster CC, and this is
the Monster CC. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Monsters with long death animations now die instantly instead. Thank God. The after death effects were so stupid.
This one here is
yeah. Thank you so much. And you want to
over any of the waypoints, and when you right click on it,
yeah, this is so good.
Set that as essentially
this is
your preferred
great
location, and whenever you town portal,
I love that.
It's going to take you there.
Fantastic.
So this is really helpful for when you're doing whispers, for example. You just set the tree of whispers as your preferred location. Do some whispers. When you press T,
yeah, fantastic.
Right there. You don't have to open up the map. Then
great quality of life.
Click on accept. It's all very seamless, and it's just removing a lot of the inputs that you have to do to get back to town quickly. The next thing here is we're adding a dungeon key inventory tab for things like nightmare sigils. So that just
we already have
more space for more activities. So much room for activities. The next one here is we've done a pretty substantial rework of Monster CC, and this is in the spirit of we want to have a tab for you
stockable inventory tab, stash tab, dungeon midpoint holdout removes have been replaced with monster packs. A handful of dungeons have had their logic updated to increase the variety of layouts, and then level up and Paragon point notification now shows up how many points. Interesting.
To put socketables like gems and other socketables. And then there's also an additional stash tab that we're going to add.
So we're getting another stash tab.
The next thing, if we could roll the clip, we took out just about all the
what the hell?
All would go up and then click on the plunger and don't get hit by the spikes. That's all been replaced entirely. with just monster packs of varying sizes.
Good,
It's just way more
good.
seamless. In this case, we only rolled some normal monsters, but sometimes it's a couple of elite packs. You never really know what you're going to get. It's like a Easter or a Kinder Egg, I should say. And it just helps the dungeon flow substantially. Like,
That's
you just
great.
sort of blast through those things. And then a handful of dungeons have had their procedural logic updated, just so there's more variation in the layouts.
And there's a lot of
Holy crap, guys. Runes. I saw this earlier, so I'm not too reactive, but I did see this earlier. Very powerful way to augment gear with sockets. Why am I skipping? Because they're just talking about that quality of life stuff.
Will you talk us through it a little bit?
Yeah, so it's my privilege to kind of talk about a feature that the whole team's been working very hard on that we haven't really mentioned much. And, you know, we looked at the expansion. We had all these cool things, you know, Torment, new class skills, Spiritborn, but we thought there was a hole. And we wanted to particularly give build crafters a new way to play for Vessel of Hatred.
Build crafters?
This is for folks who, like me, whose dream cooking show has nothing to do with British baking, but instead would be called Colin's Kitchen. Twitch chat, if you had binged Colin's Kitchen, let us know. Yeah, let's. And I think some of you already kind
That's
of have
so
an idea.
funny.
So yeah, let's get into as some of you
All right, here we
make
go.
it with runes Ja if Burr, and it would get you some really cool skills that would come out of it when you put it all together.
This is crazy.
And for Diablo 4, we wanted to retain the soul of what Diablo 2 Runewords did, which is combining socketable components and creating more powerful items. But we also wanted to do something that felt appropriately fresh and new. And we wanted to lean into what's unique about the modern game to make the Diablo 4 version of Runewords and make it stand on its own and really feel like the right version to be given to players.
Holy crap, bro.
Yeah, and what was so awesome about Diablo 2 Runewords, right, was you got this set of runes that made a god item, right, and it broke the rules, like being able to teleport on other classes. Like, what the hell, Barbarian is teleporting across the screen?
I do love
we really
that.
wanted to embrace that in a way that extended builds and didn't necessarily enforce you must play with this item, and we're really excited to share what that's sort of manifested, right?
Yeah, and you all have a lot of builds that you started with from the base game, and we want to add on to those. So,
Okay.
what are Runewords? They're a way for you to make your own spells. So there are two types of runes. There's runes of ritual, and they specify actions from the player that they have to trigger. So you can see the example here of the Yule rune, which is a legendary quality rune of ritual. You have to cast a skill, which has a cooldown. So, you know, Frost Nova or something like that.
Okay.
Then you have runes of invocation. And these grant powerful effects as a result of satisfying those runes of ritual. So the example here, the Gar rune, gives you 2.5% critical strike chance for 5 seconds. And you can stack up to 10 times, up to 25%. And you can mix and match these. There'll be a lot of different runes of ritual, runes of invocation, and you can put them together as you see fit. So when you combine a rune of ritual and rune of invocation, you pair them together, you put them in an item with 2 sockets, boom, you form a rune word.
Which is why we have the helmet with
there's
2 slots.
Rarity. We're going to have magic, rare, and legendary, and the higher rarity runes will have more potent conditions or effects. So one of the important elements of this is called offering, which is the rune resource system. So your runes of ritual will generate offering, and they're meant to feed into their linked runes of invocation so that they can consume that offering. And the sort of more demanding rituals that we would ask of you as a player gain you more offering. At the same time, the more powerful invocations that you would try to get require more offering. And so there's sort of like shared economy there. So if you can look at these runes on the right, you get 50 offering for casting a skill with a cooldown, and this rune only requires 25 offering for it to trigger. That's where overflow comes in. Overflow is when an invocation receives an offering in excess of what's needed to trigger it. But put more simply, we want you to have a mix and match system, but we want the pieces to be not super hard, that they can't fit together easily when they have some rough edges.
So why? Can somebody answer? Why is there the offering, like the the essence of Diablo 4, where it's like gain resource, spend resource, gain resource, spend resource. Why is that there for the runes? Why?
So many invocations can get different bonus effects when overflowed. Some of them might get increased radius to the effect. Some of them might get increased duration. But it'll always be proportional to the overflow amount. So as an example here, the Gar rune only requires 25 offering, and it's getting double that, which is 50 from the Yule rune. So every time you cast a skill with a cooldown, you'll get 2 stacks of 2.5% critical strike chance, or 5% crit strike. And so that's kind of how you get to play with this system, and you get to optimize it in different ways.
And it creates a lot of flexibility, right? Even like if you do a really demanding ritual trigger, for example, on a really low offering rune of invocation, it's almost a way to start scaling that rune of invocation in a completely different way beyond just triggering the rune.
Exactly, yeah. It lets us as developers be more flexible in creating wide ranges of effects, you know, sort of small ones, big ones, and also the same for the rituals. And you get to kind of decide which ones you think fit your build or are cool.
I don't know if I
we
like that.
do our best to make sure that you can almost cook up anything. So a few rules. Runes can be socketed into items with 2 sockets. We've added a another
so
item
you can
get 2 sockets for Vessel of Hatred.
So you can put these on a 2-handed weapon. So you can put them on your helmet, your chest piece, your pants, and your 2-handed weapon.
So you'll have your helm, your 2-hander, your gloves, and your helm, 2-hander, pants, and chest.
Yep.
They can only be paired with a rune of the opposite type. So you have to pair a rune of ritual with a rune of invocation. You can have a maximum of 2 rune words equipped.
Okay.
You can't equip the same rune twice. And they're available for users who own Vessel of Hatred. They stack in your inventory in the new socketable inventory tab, which will also have your gems.
And runes are tradable. This is
And
huge.
Runes are tradable between other
That is
players who
so
own Vessel of
good.
Hatred.
I was worried about that.
And they unlock with a quest in the campaign.
Okay, that's cool.
Both runes dropping from as loot, but also rune crafting, which we'll get into later.
From all enemies, fantastic.
And they drop at a higher rate in the Undercity, which is a specific place you can farm them.
Oh, okay.
So now let's get into some clips here. We get to actually see it in action. So this is a barbarian. And
Ooh, I love how it
rune
looks.
Ritual they have is travel 5 meters. Very simple. And they're going to join that to the Earthquake, which is a legendary aspect that you've already seen before, which requires 100 offering. So you see, we'll put them together in this item. And then all they have to do is just run around.
Ooh,
Boom,
that's
Earthquake
cool.
dropping.
Insane with the Paragon legendary glyph we just talked about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The earthquake train is leaving.
Ooh, I like
the
how the
station.
numbers look.
What I love about this is
You
it
see how those
doesn't-
numbers jumped
it doesn't
out?
just count your normal walking, right? If you're leaping, if you're charging, that's all counting towards like the distance that you're
For sure.
moving, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
whoa.
And you,
Yeah,
you
so
can
cut
see
the
it
video.
here in like the whirlwind,
Oh.
for instance. Like it's obviously spawning
Oh.
earthquakes. So
Was that a Druid Petrify Ultimate? This must be the wrong clip. All right, sorry guys. You know, we're doing it live. Let's just move on to the next one. Okay, so we have a Necromancer here with the Rune of Ritual, cast a non-channeled core skill, getting 25 each. And then this is a classic.
Oh, I
from
see.
D2,
So it costs
gain +3 to
400.
all skills.
Okay, you know what? It doesn't seem
So
that
you'll get
bad
to
now.
see this Necro's got 5.
Doesn't seem that bad now.
5 skill ranks for Reap and Sever. And they're going to go out and cast this core
Casual.
skill.
It doesn't seem
socketable
that bad
Harlequin
now.
Crest, pretty good.
But he needs 400.
So a little pew pew, just doing your basic core skill usage.
I mean, it is filling up
Filling up
quick,
the-
I guess.
offering needed.
Yeah, I really like the little tracking buff that fills up.
Yeah, that's
as
awesome.
you're getting it. So you don't need to really micromanage this. You can just at a glance see that, hey, I just filled it up. And
Oh,
I get
now
+3
you
ranks
got
and Sever.
okay.
Yep. So now you're at +3. There you go.
What was that?
So yeah, this Necro's just cooking, and oh, what is this? Another broken clip? Did they just cast teleport? What? Okay, I think you guys
teleporting
had enough of me.
Necros. What are you
Necro's
cooking over there,
teleporting.
Jeevan?
Yeah, I'll stop making jokes mostly. Yeah, so
500
what we really
offering?
wanted to lean into with
700?
rewards, among other things, was the ability to cast other classes' skills and use their power and harness it into your build. So with RuneWords,
Oh my God. Each class is sharing 2 skills in one aspect. You can always cast the best possible version if you have the upgrades. Warcry. Replace your next evade with teleport. Oh my God.
you're going to get to do that. Each class is going to share 2 skills and 1 legendary aspect, like the earthquake one that you saw. And
Teleport's going to be nuts,
get to cast
dude.
improved versions.
Everybody's
So
going to
for
be using
instance,
that.
instead of the standard Decrepify from the Necromancer, you get to cast Horrid Decrepify, which is the upgraded version. And that's we did that for a lot of reasons. We wanted to make some of them feel a little better and a little more powerful, and a lot of it is about balance.
Holy
but
crap.
one important thing that I always want to highlight here is that you
Enigma,
always
yep.
cast the best version of the skill if you have upgrades as the sort of home owner of the class, right?
Yeah. Crimson, you nailed it. This is what we're talking about. This is like chase things, chase items. Being able to craft these or being able to try to find these are stuff you want to chase after. Because I bet you, like these legendary ones, and if there's mythic ones, they're going to be very hard to get.
So what that means is, let's say you're a Spiritborn.
And the fact that these are tradable, it's going to help the economy, even though the economy is already like busted. But
And you equip the Cry rune, which is the Vortex spell.
oh yeah,
If you
20
have
bill for
points
Ja.
into
Yep.
the upgrade. Then you'll cast the upgraded Vortex when the rune goes off.
And then imagine Ja being able to make your next evade with Sorcerer's Teleport. 2-second cooldown. Doesn't matter when I have boots on that reduce my evade cooldown every time I attack. I'm going to be teleporting like crazy.
So I don't think there'll be any class envy. Like everyone will get the best version of their own skills, and then they'll get to use other classes' skills. And we're really excited to see how people can construct new builds and new archetypes.
Dude, look at this one. The Nur. Evoke the rogue's countering concealment, gaining dodge chance, movement speed, unstoppable, and stealth. Bro, you're going to be able to spin to win like crazy.
Types and what they can do with.
And then like get this one, then grab the other one with the Barbarian's Enhanced Warcry, increasing your movement speed and
using
damage
the power of
dealt.
the classes.
And that says enhanced
Oh
Warcry. So that
my
means
God.
Necros can become Berserk, right?
That indeed does mean that, and
You know what? Necros becoming Berserk still won't help him.
that Enhanced Warcry is a winner. I gotta say that one's real strong. We've already seen people.
Yeah, that one's
just chopping
nuts.
up the pit with that one.
Yeah, that one is insane, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Really looking forward to what kind of
Okay,
interesting new
rune crafting,
combinations
here we
and
go.
builds you can come up with by dipping into other class skills.
It's
in
crazy.
unique ways. It
This-
really just multiplies the possibilities of what you can do with any given class.
W devs. W.
Yeah, exactly. And not only do we want you to augment your builds with other classes' skills, but runes will scale with gear. So when you get more interesting runes of rituals, you'll find ways to optimize them as well and get more output. So we really feel like people will have a lot of theory crafting that they can build off of the RuneWords system, and I'm very excited to see how you.
Yeah,
break the game.
that's insane.
So
Man.
that's what she's doing on PTR for me. Just break the game. See every build you can find that totally destroys.
So
everything.
there's mythic uniques.
So now we have the crafting element. So using 3 of the same rune, you can use them to roll a new rune. You go to
Okay.
the jeweler, or it might not be the jeweler, but we'll see. And you will combine 3 of the same exact rune, and you'll get a new rune out that is guaranteed to be different than the rune you put in. And there's a chance to uproll it to the next highest rarity. So if you put 3 magic runes in, there's a
Welcome
chance that
to
it'll be a
easier
rare rune.
mythics. Wait,
Same
what?
same with rare. There's a chance that it'll be a legendary rune. And then on top of that, we'll have the ability to craft mythic uniques. So you can use runes. Each mythic unique can be crafted with a specific set of runes. You'll need
Crimson.
legendary, rare, and magic runes of a certain quantity, and 1 resplendent spark. And this is in addition to the existing mythic unique crafting flow. So
This
yeah.
really- I was just going to say this really harkens back to the sort of crafting that was so core in D2 with the runes of being able to match 3 and get the next upgrade, but in a way that's a little bit more flexible and gives you more progression out of it. And this is all tradable, right? So that match 3, those crafting mythic uniques What do you think that's going to do with trading?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to really build a sort of player community around how to.
Adam
acquire the
just
runes
looks
you need,
so
whether it's
tired.
'cause you want to combine, you have two and you want to find that third one to combine for a new one, or you're hunting for a specific mythic unique. I think we're going to have a lot of player interaction, and someone's going to win the capitalism game there. So we'll see how that.
I would really love to see an example of like how many runes plus a spark would it take to make a unique. I would really love to see that. You said the RMT sites are going to be,
like
it is what it is, though.
The rune crafting system makes it so you're kind of always progressing, right? If you're getting rune drops, then you're getting materials that can use to progress towards higher rarity runes and potentially towards these mythic unique items. Unlike some of the other loot drops,
So Rays, mythics aren't tradable.
if you don't find a good piece of gear, it just ends up being salvage. Here with runes, you're kind of constantly getting some of that progression, even if it's not always the perfect rune right now.
Yeah, I think that's something that when we did talk.
Yeah, runes are tradable. Runes are tradable.
D2 diehards when we built rune words, and one of the things that most of them tended to mention consistently was like every rune drop is progress, right? You're always moving up that ladder. And so we wanted to make sure that even if you didn't get the exact thing you wanted, it still meant something to you one way or another.
I do love that. I do really like the take 3, combine them into the next one on a tier up to try to get what you want. I really love that.
Well, I know we've talked a lot about you've already done all your renown, cleared.
So PTR, campaign completion, mounts and renown, fog of war, Lilith stats, boost vendors.
Fog of war.
Finally, boost vendors coming to PTR. Thank God.
Status will carry over onto your PTR account.
I can't wait to do the PTR and test that rogue build. I can't wait to do that.
We did do a character copy as well. It was a while back though, so you may find that it might be Friday. We really need players to jump in, check that out, give us feedback specifically regarding anything tied to the new progression systems. Around midday on Friday, though, we will be turning on the rest of the PTR, which will include things like rune words and all the other features that we were kind of talking about. All the other features will be part of it, but rune words and things like that will be turning in on Friday. One thing that we've heard from feedback from players specifically, especially as we have addressed this in the past, is that there is going to be a boost vendor available for this PTR.
Thank
God.
So
in Kyovashad, players will be able to go and visit this specific vendor. This is the best video that I was talking about because
Ooh, hell yeah.
dancing and it looks absolutely amazing. This vendor will be available and you'll be able to interact with it. And this vendor will actually then be able to provide you a ton of enhancements to your character, which we do have a list of here.
All right, let's see.
So you will be able to boost your character up to level 50. Level 60, of course, which is the new level cap after Vessel of Hatred actually ships. We will end up clearing out your whole map, your waypoints, Fog of War. We will do your class.
Yeah, exactly, Dom. That's what I did in the Diablo 3 PTRs before Diablo 4 were even released. Like the PTR would come out, and because the vendor in Diablo 3, I could just get all the legendaries, I could get all the class sets. I could literally go test things right away and then put the content out, which was fantastic. And we've been calling for this for the last couple seasons, and I'm glad they finally got it.
Class mechanic stuff and have that already unlocked. All torment tiers will be unlocked. Your potions will be upgraded completely.
Get all runes.
And then I know based off of feedback that we got from like the last
dude,
PTR
this PTR is gonna be crazy.
Hey, it'd be great if we could generate like legendary items. If we can get all the unique items, all the runes, that's new now, but all the runes and everything like that, including masterworking materials, that will actually be available in this vendor. So this is a way for players to be more efficient while testing.
Yeah,
and
no
being able
shit.
to give us more feedback, especially around end game related items. So we really need players to jump in for PTR. One last caveat I do want to mention is Infernal Hordes will not be available in this specific PTR. We are still doing some work on that right now before we actually get it ready, but all the other features within the game will be available.
Fine. We don't need Infernal Hordes.
As I mentioned,
the PTR is next Thursday. It is the 2nd. It is, or excuse me, it's the 4th. I think it's next Wednesday.
it's a permanent feature, so it's coming back to the game no matter.
PTR September 4th. So yeah, it's literally next Wednesday through the 11th. So it's 1 week. And of course, I'm off on Monday, Tuesday, so I'll be working this day. So I need to try really hard to get this day off. Yeah, I need to try really hard to get this day off. Glyphs being fully unlocked is a great, but I like to see how long it takes to level them up. See, that's the thing, though, Crimson. Like, I think that was where they really struggled to the very first PTR when they did the itemization changes, and they wanted to see how it felt leveling up, getting the items. That was like one of their main things, and all the feedback came back and was like, yeah, we don't care. We don't care about finding items. We know how to find items. It doesn't feel any different. So I'm glad that they're not doing that anymore, because that was a fear with this new progression system and the new world and like difficulties. I was worried about them like not giving us this and just basically being like, yeah, we want to see how it feels with the progression to 60 again.
Or what?
Because like that whole PTR, I like literally did not play. It's the same thing with the last two PTRs. It's like we had to level our guys. Like even though we're 100, we got to go level all our glyphs. Then we got to go get all the materials. It's like, yeah, there's nothing to test. I can't test anything, bro. Sorry.
And then separately, I do want to remind everyone that PTR right now it is still just PC BattleNet only. This does give us the flexibility of being able to upload, change things on the fly, like things like turning
the
rune words
PTR will
on
never
Friday,
go to console.
for instance, is gives us we have the flexibility of being able to do that on our own platform. So
well, Crimson, technically you could do it. I think is if you don't use the booster, but then you'd be at level 1.
It's just easier for us to be able to have that additional work from our side to be able to make things like
the PTR
that
will never
happen
go to console.
when we can do
ever.
testing specifically from that end. But Colin, Aislinn, I'd be really curious to hear like what you guys are looking for specifically in this PTR from feedback from players that they
Okay, so that is pretty much the end there. Okay. So you're getting all uniques, all legendaries, all runes, all tempering manuals, all materials, gold, and obols. So you'll be able to make like multiple classes, just rack up a bunch of the materials, and then go make something. So PC Master Race, baby, yeah. Gosh, dude, I am going to need to get these 2 days off. I need to get the 4th and 5th off. I gotta get at least the 4th and 5th off, because those 2 full days, I'd be able to test so much stuff. I'm gonna have to figure something out. I'm gonna have to figure something out here. Yeah, we do work switches. Yeah, I'll have to see about swapping some days or just getting somebody to cover for me. Wait. Did they change the PTR day? Wait, hold on.
Let's launch. So there is still a seasonal theme and mechanic with season 6 that we'll be sharing here soon. So thank you guys, everyone, and thank.
Okay, so there is a seasonal theme.
Been really.
Okay, so there is a seasonal theme. So it's September 11th. So they did update that. I'm actually very surprised that it's not starting on the 3rd. Like, I'm pretty shocked, actually. If you could, I would cover for you, War. I need a job. Yeah, dude, I would love for you to cover for me, man. Well, chat, how do we feel about everything? I honestly think the only L right now is the Paragon stuff. And the limitations here with how many boards you get. I mean, maybe once we get into the PTR, you know what I mean? That'll change, but new axe. Now look at the skill nerfs. Now I'm not going to go through all the skill nerfs. I'm not going to do that. I'm more interested in like all the stuff. Like this, dude, I'm gonna end up playing Spiritborn anyway. But I'll tell you what, man, that in the PTR, I want to make this thing first. I don't even want to make Spiritborn stuff. I want to make this build first, and then I want to do all Spiritborn after that. Like, I want to make this first. This seems insane. Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to somebody. See if I can get some coverage here. See if anybody wants to work for me. If you play Rogue, you got to do Spiritborn Hardcore. Nah, get out of here. Actually, I don't know if the Spiritborn's in the PTR. I don't think so. So yeah, we would just test out all the new stuff, the runes. I don't think PTR. I don't think it's in there. Rune crafting. This is so great. Okay, features for testing. Okay. So here's the features offered. So you get all this stuff. Okay, so it doesn't mention anything. So it doesn't mention anything about the Spiritborn. Yeah. Everything is in the PTR except Hell Ties. They're working on it. Did they say it in the video and I just missed it?
Is progress, right? You're always moving up that ladder. And so we wanted to make sure that even if you didn't get the exact thing you wanted, it still meant something to you one way or another.
Yeah, Infernal Hordes shouldn't be in there. Yeah, Infernal Hordes and then Spiritborn shouldn't be in here. I would highly doubt that they would give access to Spiritborn. Okay. Sorry guys, I was checking some stuff real quick. Yeah, we'll have all the seasonal theme for season 6 and stuff here in a little bit. It'll be like probably another week or two. We got 6 weeks until season 6, so we'll probably get it like somewhere like 2 weeks out. So probably like three or 4 weeks from now, we'll get that. Don't look at Druid Pulverized got hit hard. I mean, I don't want to read through all this, but I mean, okay, so there's really not a whole lot of changes. They changed the Paragon stuff more. Yikes. Yikes, bro. Yikes. Yikes. Blade Shift got buffed. Oh, also grants unhindered. Finally. That was so stupid before. Nice. Okay. God, there's so much here. Loot updates. All unique items now have a single boss for target farming. Remove from Gygor. Remove from... Oh, so they're making it to where, like, certain... Okay. That's fine. Whatever. Okay. They nerfed it sarcastic because it was the most popular key passive for Druid. The devs don't like that. The devs don't like that. Wow, man. The new difficulty tiers, love it. The Paragon stuff I'm very concerned about. The runes I'm very, very excited about. So good. The patch notes. So, players now enable hybrid targeting, a new feature that allows for proximity selection of interchangeables when used in the mouse. All classes. So we get access to those. Then all the tempering stuff, and then all the new stuff. I think I just scrolled through this, didn't I? Yeah, I just did. Console gets aimbot. Well, that'll be the great thing about the PTR is testing all the stuff. And then once they make like some adjustments, then it's going to feel really good. Okay. So let's do this, guys. Let's go ahead and make our review video here and just talk about a lot of stuff. So let's do this. I know there's a bunch of other creators that put this out, but you know we got to do it too. But can D4 steal the Nemesis system? What does it mean for a loot update? What do you mean, Raze? I can see the vid now. It opens with you freaking out. Yeah, I'll record this in the morning, guys. It's not going to go up until tomorrow, I don't think. The new target farming system. So all that's doing is changing it. So Raze, so how it would work is like, so for example, instead of a general item, like the let's say, for example, like the Ramalan sword, instead of being able to get that at almost every single boss, you're going to only be able to get it at a particular boss. So it's going to be the same. They're just changing it to a different boss. That's all. Yeah. What's today? Wednesday. All right, Raze. Sleep well, man. I appreciate you being here. I'm asking one of my boys if he wants to work for me. I'm asking. He doesn't have to, but God, the 4th or 5th? Good Lord, man. Today's Thursday? Gotcha. You're still Central Time? Okay. We might just do the video tonight, guys. Oh, you're still Central Time. Gotcha. Not for me, 1 minute to go. But what do you guys think overall? I'm going to try to make like a 10-minute video talking about this stuff and some of my like biggest things. When you do the PTR for the Rogue, make sure you put in your reaction video. Yeah. Oh yeah. I have to edit that. I'll have to edit that tonight because it's like a 7-minute clip. Oh. So I'll have to go through and cut stuff and cut it and whatnot. But yeah, I do need to download it though. So let me get that going. Oh, 2 points I don't like is the number, but most of the changes seem fun and necessary. What are the 2 points you don't like? There's a 22% nerf somewhere. Rax went over it today. What's the nerf? Definitely read the notes on Rogue if you're going that way. Well, it's the PTR, so I'd be testing everything, or as much as I can. You do not like glyph leveling. Seems like a step backwards as far as fun. And Paragon seems boring and tedious. I hope they get a new Paragon nodes, which are worth chasing. Yeah, so the leveling up of the Paragon glyphs is, I mean, it's the same as the legendary gems in Diablo 3. You know, even the current glyph system, I mean, it's tedious, but at least like, so the initial, when you start your character in season 6, the initial will suck because you got to first leveled up, but everything after that will be super easy. Paragon and technically the new 10 skill points, 5 has to go into an ultimate and then 2 more for a total of 7 leaves just 3. It doesn't have, those 5 don't have to go into the ultimate. They don't have to. You can put them wherever you want. Yeah, maybe I'll go watch Rax's video and see what he said about what nerf. You know what I mean? Just to see. Just to see. Leveling adjustments. So many changes, man. It's crazy that now the armor is, oh, so it's minus 1,000 armor and minus 100 to all resistance. That's cool. All right. I mean, I don't know how I feel about the glyph radius size going up. And I mean, I think it's cool because it simulates the you know, the legendary gems, but I do like all the changes that they made though. I do like the changes. I'm not going to lie. The only negative is the boards for me. It's the only big negative, man. And think about it too, dude. We're going to be able to go in and play like we're going to be able to test so much stuff, man. Because here's the thing, guys. If I don't get like at least the 4th covered, I'm not playing until I get home at 9, man. That means people would have gotten like 8 hours worth of play on the PTR before I even touched it. Now, the benefit is that like I get all this stuff so I can just start pumping, you know, testing stuff out. But then the negative is that like there's probably already going to be so many videos out, but yeah, fire up that thing. Yeah. Okay. Should we do a review video, guys, or no? Should we do a review video? I kind of want to see what Rack says. Rune words are coming. Vessel of Hatred looks amazing. Dang, he did a 35-minute video. Golly. Good Lord, man. That's crazy. Please excuse Warlock from work. Explosive diarrhea. Yeah, that'd be nice, man. That'd be nice. I mean, I guess I could do that. Let's do this. Let's do Vessel of Hatred, Diablo 4. So you got Vessel of Hatred. Massive new, that's 4 days ago, but there goes Rob 6 hours ago. There goes Pagnon. What's the controversy with this guy? By the way, didn't somebody say something in the Discord about this guy? Something happened with him. Demon said he copies people's builds. Oh, and he doesn't credit people, so that's where the hate comes in. Gotcha. That's where the hate comes in. Chris said 32 minutes. Okay, so let's see what he has to say real quick. Gotcha. So he's trying to, is he trying to take credit for somebody's build? 32 minutes.
Will there be more difficulty tiers? Thought this was a weird question because we just got new ones. Now we're asking for more. They said that they're going to be very measured in how they add them. They're not just willy-nilly going to add progression tiers. Nightmare dungeons now are going to give you your masterworking materials. You can reuse rune words. And you can't mix and match them. It's runes or gems in the item. I don't know why we'd ever use gems, but I guess maybe. Why cap the Paragon boards? They said they're not sure on it. They might redo it. Do you have to go to Kmart to change difficulties? They said that they added a bunch of new ways in the towns and at the different activities to change difficulties. They might change it yet, which is going to be coming. If the pit can be fun, and if moving from Torment 1 to Torment 2 and then to Torment 3 is actually a very serious progression, something that you're really working toward, and then you finally can kill the Torment 4 tormented bosses and get the really, really good rune words. And when you finally get the legendary rune words, you feel really powerful. And if the new game modes are fun with the expansion, and with if a lot of these new builds, like the Spin to Win Rogue build, if it's really strong.
God, that thing's going to be awesome.
I think a lot of these things are going to feel really good. I also have a feeling, which is also important, if any of these things go really wrong, I have a feeling that Diablo 4 is in a state where it can be easily fixed. A lot of the things that we were having problems with 1 year ago, like items are dog shit, armor sucks, resistances suck, uniques suck, I can't even find a mythic unique, the boss chain is terrible, There's no end game, anything. Like, the problems to solve 1 year ago were like almost insurmountable. But now, if these don't feel good, this seems like it can be fixed just with tuning and with some decent decisions. So if we provide really good feedback on the PTR, I'm optimistic that if this goes in fairly well into the expansion, that's probably going to be the best version of Diablo 4 so far.
I agree 100% with Rax.
And finally, in the next year, we can work on like building in more things instead of just fixing everything that they already built. So I'm pretty optimistic here.
It's a good point. Okay, guys. All righty. Should we do a review on all this or no? Should we just go ahead and do it? So we finally had the beta then? I mean, I guess. I'll do a quick overview of this stuff, guys, and I'll get it out and put it out in the morning. But overall, I will say I'm very, very excited about these. And you know what? Let's just do it right now. Let's just get it done. Let's get it done. 3-part, 5-hour review, my man. No, I would cut it to like 10 minutes. I would only highlight the new stuff. Like, I'm not going to go over a lot of the class changes. I'm not going to do anything like that. It would be just these reworks and how this stuff looks. And then like showcasing like this stuff. Like, that looks cool. You know what I mean? But that's it. This thing though. Holy crap, dude. This build is going to be so crazy. When you get a bunch of speed bonuses, like, holy shit, man. Yeah, this is the first thing that I'm doing. 100%. First thing. Holy crap, dude. It is literally God DH. Literally God DH without arrows. Without arrows, man. I wonder, actually, let me see something. Drowning in elixirs. Oh, yeah, dude. You'd be using precision level 2 ASAP, dude. To get the 15% increased attack speed. It's probably a good thing they didn't keep momentum in the game. Am I on God DH? I am. Oh, no, I'm on multi-shot. Okay, never mind. I was going to say, I thought I was on God DH. I was just going to show you guys, but... Blizzard has really given us a lot to look forward to. Yes. What? Oh, no! I closed it all out. No! I didn't mean to do that. That's okay, guys. All right, guys. I really do appreciate it, man. I'll get this video done, and it'll be up in the morning tomorrow. So we'll get that done. We'll give my reaction and just a review of everything. It'll be nice, short, and sweet to get at least all the bullet points. It won't be like a 20 or 30-minute video like Rax and Rob have, but it'll be a nice little review. And we'll get that out. Man, I am excited. I'm pretty excited about everything, including the rune words. You know, I haven't got to play Diablo 2 in a long time, so it'll be really cool to see these. So, but guys, I'm very excited. I appreciate everybody being here, guys. Thank you so much for the gifteds, all the donos, all the support. I absolutely love you guys. I do appreciate it. Make sure to like the stream, follow over on Twitch. Go check out the videos, guys. Like and comment. That really does help push the channel and the community out there so we can do more stuff for you guys. I really do appreciate it, man. So Have a great rest of your night, guys. I'll see everybody later. Make sure when I post the review tomorrow, guys, to go like and comment on it. It really does help me more than you guys ever know. And I'll get that clip posted in the Discord of tonight with the Dance of Daggers. So I'll see you guys next time. As always, be safe, have fun, and stay gaming, guys. Catch you in the next one. Peace.